Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined, as per usual, by, in the left corner, Matt.
Hey, it's on. I did some mental gymnastics there to make sure, but it was the right corner.
On the screen for
it was the left corner.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, but he was right that it was in the left.
Yes, and in the right corner, although he's very wrong, usually, Connor's here.
When am I ever wrong?
All the time. Right now? Because you're wrong about being wrong?
We're off to a good start.
So yeah, we talk about comics, we talk about DC Comics. No big news happened this week. This will be a light show. There'll be nothing to talk about. In all seriousness, though, the books we're going to talk about this week, we'll be talking about Batman Lost #1, the metal one-shot. We'll be talking about Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, number 32, which we don't typically talk about these days, but it's a metal tie-in, part of the crossover, so we are. Detective Comics 968. Which is the end of the Lonely Place of Living arc. We have Action Comics 991, which is also the end of the Oz Effect. Lots of ends. We have Wonder Woman 34, Flash 34, Mr. Miracle number 4, Titan 17, Supergirl 15, and New Superman number 17. That is what we'll be talking about this week. But we do have news. We have news. In fact, we have news that's so meaty that I'm not even going to have the niceties. I'm not even going to sit and make some small talk and ask Connor and pretend that I care what his week was like, because we have more important things to be doing.
You know what my week was like?
What was your week like, Matt?
Brian Michael Bendis come to DC.
No, Matt, I'm not starting with that.
Well, I'm just saying, that's what happened.
Not starting with that. God damn it, I was going to get through all things quickly and then build to the main event.
I know, this is what happens when you have plans.
We're not starting with it, we're doing all things first. We'll get to that in a minute.
Never let Matt go rogue.
We'll get that to in a minute. This is why sometimes I have to prep him before we start recording it. I'm like, Matt, I've got a plan. I got a game plan for how this is going to go. You keep your goddamn mouth shut until it's time to open it, and then we'll get going.
Then he opens it anyway.
Yeah. So before we get to the meaty news that I am sure I've probably titled the episode after. Normally I'll just put a quote from one of the books, but sometimes the news is big enough to get in the title. I thought you had something to say, Matt. You were laughing there.
No, I'm just laughing because, yeah.
He's just enjoying the fact that he ruined it for you, I think.
Oh, he did. So, yeah, we have a couple of quick things that I'm just going to quickly run through before we get to that big stuff. So, first up, all of the New Age of DC Heroes books. Although, I hate that. Just call it Dark Matter. I feel it's just... I mean, I don't mind the phrase. It's just such an awkward title to say like that when I'm talking about the books as a group.
Yeah.
The New Age of DC Heroes.
Just call it the New Age books.
The New Age books, there you go. So they've all been delayed. They've all been pushed back. They were meant to be starting this year. Now they're all starting in January, and they've all been kind of bumped back, sort of in a sort of ripple effect. The reason for this seems to be, at least what they're telling us, is that they want it to tie in more directly with the issues of metal that are coming out around the time that these books are coming out. So... Seemingly, the ones that are out in January will be out around the same time as like issue 5 of Metal, and they'll tie in more to that, and so on. So, if that's the reason, then fair enough. Seems fine.
The cynic in me sees that the Jim Lee book has been delayed the longest. Because some of them are pushed back like 3 weeks. His is pushed back like 2 months. It's like, the cynic in me just goes, yeah, he just wasn't ready.
I can buy it. But so the new dates for all these is Damage is going to begin on January 17th, The Silencer is beginning on January 31st, then in February 14th we have Sideways, and in February 28th we have The Terrifics, and then on March 14th The Immortal Men's the last one out of the batch. So I'm a little bummed that I have to wait longer for The Terrifics, because that's the one that I'm excited about, but otherwise,
me too.
No big deal. It's just,
Terrifics only pushed a couple of weeks though, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like the first week of February before or something.
Yeah.
As Matt's extremely loud dog starts stomping into the room.
So when I don't push the door all the way closed, he just is like, hello. Lay down. And he leaves.
That works too. Then a couple of small things have been announced. These are kind of the things. So I imagine that this solicits for... what's next, February? We had January already. I imagine the solicits for February don't have a lot of big new things, but they have a couple of things that they've announced in advance. One is a Valentine's Day one-shot, which is called Young Monsters in Love. Although, funnily enough, it's not out on Valentine's Day. That's coming out on February 7th. I guess they want it out before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, yes, that's weird.
Because when I first saw it, I thought, because it doesn't fall on Valentine's Day, so they have it out the week before. But
it does.
It does fall on Valentine's Day. The 14th is the Wednesday. but whatever. So it's called Young Monsters in Love. It's got stories by Paul Dini, James Robinson, Jeff Lemire, Steve Orlando, Mark Russell, Kel Higgins, Elisa Whitney, I'll assume that case silent, and Phil Hester. And then art, they've only got 3 artists listed, but they say there's going to be more. Gillian March, Fraser Irving, and Kelly Jones. Not a lot to say on any of the stories, but the cover that was posted, or at least the temporary cover that was posted, is of Frankenstein looking very upset as he watches his Bride of Frankenstein make out with Swamp Thing.
Oh, man.
So
I can't believe Abby Arcane's going to be okay with that either.
Oh, that's true. I never even thought of that. That's a good point. It is a $10 book that is 80 pages, prestige format. Obviously, it's a one-shot, but so...
I'm down. Sounds fun.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Some writers that I really like.
There's good writers, and I think the image is like, okay, I get the tone of this. It's going to be a fun, stupid romance thing, not like taken seriously.
Or romance. I'm down.
Yeah. So no, I'm cool. And then the other thing they announced was a new miniseries, going to be 6 issues long. It's called Mira, Queen of Atlantis. It's Dan Abnett that's writing it, so it should tie in nicely to the main Aquaman book if that's what they're going for. What's interesting about this one, honestly, more than anything else, is that they mention it's the first time Mira's ever had her own book in any way. Which I actually think is quite surprising, given how long she's been around. But
well, it makes sense how much Johns loves her. You know, he brought her back to the forefront, and then gave her a meaty role in Blackest Night. So, you know, makes sense.
Yeah, our fans seem to be quite happy. I saw a lot of excitement on the Twitters and whatnot. So yeah,
Who's on?
Lan Medina's on art. The cover for the first issue, at least, is by Nicholas Scott.
He's doing all of them. I saw her say on Twitter.
She's doing all of them. That's cool. I mean, obviously, I'd be more excited if she was doing the interiors as well, but I mean, still.
But, I mean, it gives us nice choices for cover of the week.
That is true. That's true. So that's the quick news. That is the stuff that I just wanted to get out of the way so we could get to the meat. The thing that we obviously wanted to talk about. So, what day was it? That was Tuesday. And I remember this vividly. I want to tell you the story of where I was when I heard this news. That's how big this news is.
It's not that big.
It's that big. It's only not that big to Connor, because Connor has this weird thing where he doesn't really care about
It's not where were you when this happened?
Oh, no, it was for me.
It is.
Yeah.
Listen to Connor. It's that big. This is the biggest comics news. This is the biggest DC Comics news since they announced Rebirth.
Yeah, easy.
Sure, I'm not disputing that, but it's still not that big, like you're saying.
Well, it kind of was, because I was in the theater, right? I was going to see a movie. And I was just checking my phone as the ads were playing, as you do, because why are you paying attention to the ads?
Yep.
And I actually saw on our Facebook group someone posted, holy shit, and I linked to a tweet. But the tweet wouldn't load, my phone wasn't getting a good signal. And I was like, what's he reacting to? Come on, tell me. And I thought, oh, he's probably overreacting, it's not that big. And then eventually Twitter loaded, and it was the post from DC Comics explaining that Brian Michael Bendis has signed an exclusive contract with DC Comics, and I was like, that's actually pretty big. I did not see that coming.
No one saw it coming.
Nope.
Yeah, Matt, what was your story? You remember where you were?
No, I was at work, and I was trying to avoid work by looking at my phone, and I believe it was you that posted, and I had to double check it to make sure it wasn't one of these prank things, like.
That's the thing. I think when I saw it, because they posted an image with text in it, and I immediately looked at who the account was to make sure it wasn't some stupid troll or something like that. And it was the DC Comics account. It was like, oh, okay. So why is that big news though? Right? Obviously Connor disagrees, but why is that big news to everyone else?
No, I don't disagree that it's big news. I'm just saying context.
So look, since I've been reading comics like regularly, it's about 03, 04. Bendis was DC's guy. Like he is, or DC Marvel's guy.
Right? I'm not going to call you Marvel there, Matt. You're burying the story here.
Yeah. So he was like anti whatever DC was doing. Bendis was doing the opposite. And then he just was always going to work at Marvel. That was in my head.
He joined Marvel in 2000. He's been there for 17 years, and he became their guy. Whenever people talked about Jeff Johns at DC, Bendis was the Marvel equivalent.
And let's point out, he did his creator-owned stuff through their imprint. Icon, is it?
Yeah.
Icon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, majority of his stuff that his creator-owned went through that. Because I think he started one of the things before he went to Marvel, and then he brought it over. I think it was Powers that he brought over to Icon after.
Yep.
he moved there.
Yeah.
So he's been with Marvel 17 years. He has been their sort of lead architect. He was doing a lot of the events, which arguably is his worst work. I think most people typically have that opinion.
I mean, it started off and he was fine, but then it kind of became the Bendis formula. You kind of knew where it was going with these events, and you could kind of feel like in the most recent ones, like Civil War II, like maybe, I don't know if his heart wasn't in it or he just didn't have the story and they wanted him.
I'm going to get to that because I want to speculate as to why this is happening in a little bit, but I just want to play out the context here and just, so, this guy's written everything in Marvel pretty much. He's done a giant run in Avengers, he's done a giant run in Ultimate Spider-Man, he's done X-Men, he's done Guardians of the Galaxy. Daredevil, of course, yeah.
He created Jessica Jones,
this guy is responsible for what many consider one of Marvel's best periods, right?
Yeah, he basically revived Daredevil. I mean, Marvel Knights was kind of there, but it wasn't. It didn't have the name trade, and then he took it over, had the spectacular run that then he passed it off to Ed Brubaker, and it became like an all-time, and he would do that with characters. He would come to X-Men and become this really good run that stands out.
Yeah,
or
he doesn't always hit it out the park necessarily, but there's some runs. I mean, just personally, his Daredevil's fantastic, his Ultimate Spider-Man's fantastic, and I did really enjoy his X-Men, all new X-Men Uncanny dual kind of run. His Avengers, which I read a fair chunk of, was enjoyable, but not as good as the rest of the stuff that I just mentioned.
Yeah, he did Secret Invasion, right? That was him.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I enjoyed that. It felt like he was doing long form comic storytelling in the way that Jeff Johns was. So they were...
Joe, it's funny, my first reaction after it settled in that it was happening, I was like, and we didn't even have to trade Johns for him. Yeah. We have both.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah, this dude was Mr. Marvel, and, so he comes over to DC, and it's just like, what? Like, what weird universe are we living in? Like, is this the Mandela effect now?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of reasons why this happened, but there's been rumours that he's been clashing with some people at Marvel recently, and I think with that and maybe the head honchos over there not doing a great job running the place, because that was obviously one of my first things was like, what did Marvel do to screw this up that he went to DC with an exclusive contract? Like, what did they do? But then the other thing I'm thinking is, he's also been there for 17 years, and he's written most of the major characters in long runs. Like, and you mentioned
the Fantastic Four, like that's really,
which is not an option anymore because they're not doing more Fantastic Four books.
Yeah, and he added Ben Grimm to the Guardians, and he was playing with Johnny Storm, but he never played with the first family at Marvel. And the way that Hickman did, or Morrison did, or even Wade.
And you said yourself that his heart didn't feel like it was in it for the last couple of years. Like, Civil War 2, which I never read, but everyone was trashing on it. It seemed bad. Everyone was saying it was bad. I believe it was bad.
I got 3 issues in. I was just like, nah, I'm not spending $5 for this. It's, you're not going to get me again. Because I fell for Avengers vs. X-Men, which was fine. But I just felt like, and this is going to sound hypocritical with Doomsday Clock coming, kind of over big events, like that. Like, I don't need one every single year.
Well, yeah, but they were doing them twice a year, even at that point.
So they didn't feel special, and that's why I feel like I'm so in on Doomsday Clock. This is the first big 12-issue maxi,
and they've been building to it for a year and a half as well.
Yeah,
and also they're not tying into all the other books, so we're not getting everything interrupted as it's happening. There's been a little bit of that with Metal, but not as.
Yeah, but they're not interrupted to say, I was reading Power Man and Iron Fist, and I was enjoying it, and then I get to the Civil War crossover that really didn't need to be there, Civil War 2. And it ruined the momentum for me, and I stopped picking it up.
That's traditionally been one of the things that stopped me reading a lot of Marvel books, because I'll try it, and then I'll get 5 issues in, and it'll go into a crossover that I wasn't interested in. It'll be a big event, and I only wanted to try 1 or 2 little books. And then they get derailed and pulled into this thing, and I just don't come back after. So I kind of just got to the point where I was like, why even bother trying?
And it felt like it was happening with almost every book. And it felt like it was happening early in every book as well. Because at least with, okay, so 2 issues of Justice League are tying into Metal. You're at issue 32, 33
right,
for that
when I'm
happening.
30 issues in, I'm either going to read it and read the event, or alternatively, I'll skip those 2 issues and come back because I've got 30 issues already. Whereas when I've only had 4 or 5, yeah,
You forget it exists. Yeah, like you know,
Yeah.
2 months later when it's back to being normal. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
more than that.
exactly.
Sometimes it can be 5 months later if they're just going to be dragged into it for a long time. But we're not here to trash on Marvel's practices. We're here to talk about Bendis coming over. So before we get to speculation of what Bendis might end up doing at DC and whatnot, Connor's been oddly silent as we've been praising praising some of Bendis' work. So why don't you give your opinion on his works, Connor?
I don't hate him. It's not like I think he's bad. I think he's overhyped.
He's very Marmite. I see a lot of people online who hate him, and obviously there's a lot of people who love him.
I find him good at best, but at other times I find him tedious and unreadable.
When he clicks, he really clicks for me.
I mean,
you know,
I liked the Jessica Jones Alias book. I liked that.
Yeah.
And I read the first Ultimate collection of his Daredevil. I liked it, but not enough that I felt like I needed to get the second one.
Here's another factor that might play into his writing. So for a start, he might feel more motivated because he's getting to play with new characters. It's a new gig. He's feeling impassioned. I think the other big thing is that at Marvel right now, that just in these last couple of months, he was writing 6 books a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they put him on 2, if they put him on, say, a double shipper and a single shipper,
that's half the workload.
That's half the workload, and I feel like...
Well, and he doesn't have to be the spine of the DC universe. He can just write.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Books.
Like DC editors, I mean, I don't want to say he has to be kept in check per se, but like there'll be people at the top who are like, no, you can't do that. That's stay in line with what we're doing with Rebirth and whatnot.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm really concerned about what he's going to do because I feel like it depends what they give him as to whether or not I'm going to like it or not.
Honestly,
I feel he wouldn't come over unless it was something like monumental. Like, I don't think he's coming over to write the Atom. You know what I mean?
I'll laugh so much if in a few weeks' time we get an announcement that he's writing the Atom.
Well, if he is, then I need to go start making wagers on things because, damn.
Honestly, I'm not super worried because there's very few things I think they'd put him on that I would go, oh, like at least before I read it. Like maybe there's some things we'll find that once he's actually writing it, we'll go, oh, this doesn't really work for him.
Okay, I mean, in that sense, I really don't like him on team books from what I've read.
I would agree with that, except I love his X-Men, so I can't...
I got bored
but
after
his
that.
X-Men, he always would pick one character that was the focus. So, like in Uncanny, it was very Cyclops-driven, and in All New, it was very, young Jean Grey.
See, my problem is in his team books, I feel like a lot of the characters will start to sound the same. And I don't notice it in the solo books, because I think he writes in a very similar style in terms of dialogue across the board. But when it's just a solo book, you don't notice it as much. But when you've got a team of characters all playing off each other, I find it's really noticeable, and it kind of makes me bored of the book because I don't care about the characters as much.
The funny thing is I don't disagree that his characters often sound the same, but for me that's not an issue. Partly because it's good dialogue. I guess it's very Joss Whedon, actually. People always complain that Joss Whedon's characters all kind of have the same wit, and I've just been kind of fine with that forever, and I've never really thought about it much.
I think the difference is, for me, with Joss Whedon, his or at least most of the stuff that he does is original creations, so it's like, okay, it's fine, it's his thing.
And also the other argument there as well is that you've got different actors all saying it, so at least you have different people spouting it out.
Yeah, different delivery, whereas with Bendis in a comic, with pre-established characters, let's say he does, I don't know, pick a team, any team, they're all, most of them, unless he adds he might add 1 or 2 new characters, most of them are going to be pre-established characters who have personalities that we expect already. And I feel like with Bendis, I don't get that. I get the same one across 6 characters, just slightly tweaked.
Now, here's the thing. What if it's characters that you're not familiar with and he gets to kind of mold them in his way? Because I felt reading some of his runs, I wouldn't be familiar with someone that popped up in, let's say, Daredevil. But then I end up really liking that character because I wasn't familiar with them, and I like the way that Bendis wrote them,
Well, I think it's less of an issue in solo books like that, where you've only got like a couple of side characters playing off or guests. Yeah. It's when it's a team and I've got 5-6 people meant to be playing off each other constantly that it wears me down a lot.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he ends up doing. Too. I'm excited to see... Because I feel like if I was to guess, I mean, this is just a guess, this might be completely wrong, but if I was to guess right now, I would say that he'd be on a big double shipping book that's a big character or team, and then he'll be on something that's more of a B-lister for a single. And that'll be what he sinks his teeth into. That's what I'd guess.
But here's what's genuinely my biggest concern, which is it's actually not to do with his writing ability at all. It's not to do with the quality of what he's going to put out. It's that they might give him whatever he wants, because like that might have been part of the deal to get him to come over. It's like, you can do what you want. Are they going to kick someone off a book that I'm enjoying to give him this book? It's the same thing we saw with Rucker. We got that. There was someone else supposed to be on the book with Wonder Woman before, and then it was like, oh no, it's Rucker.
I think that's.
Yeah, but if Rucker didn't write that, I would have gotten issue 8, so it's fine.
I think that is being really pessimistic without any kind of basis
it is,
for
but
it.
I'm just seeing all the books that people are suggesting. It's all books that I'm enjoying, and I don't want it.
You're always going to give
him a new book. Give him a number 1 and start him on something fresh.
But to be fair, Connor, I'm not saying like if I've suggested something that someone's already writing that I like, I don't actually want them to pull them off just now. I'm saying, no, when they're done with their run, I could see Bendis doing a good job on that book. I mean, obviously, the one that's really obviously up for grabs right now is Wonder Woman, because, James Robinson's just kind of there to fill in between big names.
Yeah, and it's possible that this is what he's been there for, because obviously, we've fed multiple times how they're kind of just spinning the wheels, waiting for someone for Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Maybe
it feels
they were
like
just
that.
working out the kinks with this.
It feels like they're waiting for a bigger name, and he would be a big name to go on there. Whether or not that's the place for him is another question, but it's the obvious one that's big. Obviously, the other things that people are suggesting, is he the one who's coming in to do either JSA or Legion when that hits, or even Shazam?
Yeah. He posted his reading list for DC.
No, he posted
massive...
He posted 1/5 of his reading list because he said there was 5 stacks. He posted a second one today.
I missed that.
He hasn't posted all of them. He posted a second stack today, which was even more stuff.
That first stack was massive, and it was full of Superman and Legion of Superhero stuff.
Yeah,
Superman, Legion, and Titans was the other one that stuck out.
Yeah.
Well, I also noticed the Gotham Central omnibus because honestly, I would love Bendis on something like that because he.
I don't know.
Oh no, see, he has like grittier stuff. Like I said, has more street level stuff, like Daredevil. Like that is where he shines, and I feel like I'll give him something like that.
Now, are you saying you want something akin to that, or do you want him to pick up the Gotham Central?
Oh, something akin, not necessarily exactly Gotham Central. It can be something.
I don't like the idea of anybody but Rucka and Brubaker writing Gotham Central. That's just me though.
I'm saying like give him something like that. I could see, I could see him doing a great Green Arrow run when Percy's done.
Yeah.
I could see him doing a good Batman run, but obviously King's on there for 100 issues, so...
this is my conspiracy brain that's been going on there.
Go on.
And that Percy said on Twitter this week, he's looking forward to a quieter 2018, because 2017 was so chaotic. And that was Wednesday-ish, which is about the same time.
Yeah, that could mean something. Because you know what I think? Here's the thing. Let's say Bendis goes on a book that someone's already on that we like.
Yeah.
The funny thing is I don't think you can say, he's been taken, or the person's been taken off because Bendis is there. Because that's the thing. We're at a point now, especially with these double shippers, where we're 30 plus issues into the run. Like,
long.
Percy was on Green Arrow before Rebirth, so he could just be at a point naturally where he's ready to kind of wrap up his run. And
I feel he's close to 50 issues in on his Green Arrow, on his Oliver Queen stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And that's fair. I mean, I've seen a lot of people going that they want him on Detective because they want him right in that team.
No.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Not until
Tynion's
done.
Once Tynion alone.
Yeah, once Tynion's done, sure, but not until.
But he sounds like he's got plans for a while. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, don't get me wrong. This contract is obviously for at least a few years. They've said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's time.
Yeah, but like, if he wants to take Jurgens, off of action, and Jurgens, let's say, is going to take over a Booster Gold book that they're going to drop on us.
Okay, Matt, you're just fan-ficting this now. You're just
just a little bit.
Running DC.
That'd be fine, I feel, because I feel like Jurgens has kind of said his piece. He's laid the pieces for the Oz story.
I mean, I think, to be fair, Jurgens was always a safe choice for Action Comics to go. It's like, let's go back to the heyday. People want classic Superman. Let's give them a classic creator.
Yeah. So I'll take him on most things, but like Connor's saying, I don't want them just to move somebody just because, which I don't think they would do. I think editorial's really been firing on all cylinders lately when it comes to DC.
Yeah, I think since Rebirth, they've more or less proved they've been making the right choices with these things. So
yeah.
The only new book I really don't want him on personally is JSA, because that's, I just say how I don't like him on team books, and that's my favorite team.
That checks all your wrong boxes.
Yeah. Although honestly, Matt, I feel like I'd like a Bendis JSA book.
Oh, I would too.
I think I might cry.
Bendis is the guy that got me to read Guardians after I had resisted for so long. Just because I was like, the movie's fine.
Which is sadly one of his weaker books.
This is why I tried Guardians again. It's like, okay, I like the movie, and Bendis is, he's supposed to be good. I'll give it a try, and I thought it was really boring.
I don't think it was boring.
All the stuff
I think his Guardians is just kind of forgettable, basically. I just think his Guardians of the Galaxy one's forgettable. I kind of gave up on it after about 15 issues.
See, I liked a lot that was in there, like the stuff with Jason, Peter's dad. I really liked, and that was carried over from other stuff. And him with the Shi'ar, that was really fun. And Gladiator, because the reason I got to reading it was because of the crossover. Like we talked about, these Marvel would do these unnecessary crossovers, but it would work out. So he crossed over X-Men with Guardians, and he's writing both.
I never got that far in either book because
and that's where it picked up. That's where I started. So I didn't read the stuff that built to that, but I enjoyed it from there on out. So. I wouldn't mind him a JSA, with him balancing the characters,
I like him on JSA. I mean, I don't have the Legion history to say if he'd be suitable for Legion, but I'd certainly, honestly, that would make me more excited about a Legion book, because I feel like I'd be in safe hands with getting me up to speed with all these characters. I feel like a lot of people
are in your boat where there's I know the Legion superhero are, but I'm not connected to them.
I think from DC's business perspective, Legion would be a smarter choice than JSA. I think just by the sense they can sell it on the name then, whereas JSA they've kind of been teasing the return. People want that more, I think, than Legion as a rule.
Let's just say the last person to write a good ongoing Legion book was Mark Waid. So
actually, just going back to Green Arrow for a second, I mean, Percy's whole thing about having a quieter 2018 could just be it went single shipping. Therefore, he's only writing half the issues. So
right, yeah.
Just to go back on that before someone comments and makes that point.
It was but it was just the day that it came out on. It was very It was around the same time, and it got my conspiracy brain going.
There's some small buzz, and I think this is just rumors. I don't think there's any real basis to this, but I'm going to put it out there just for the conversation's sake. He's mentioned a few times that he's quite a fan of Zatanna.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I've seen some speculation that he'll be bringing a couple of his artists across, Zimmerman and Serpicelli.
Yeah. By the way, Maleev is a free agent right now, so if he wants to get Maleev back on the phone as well, I wouldn't say no to that.
And I'm just thinking, this opens the door for other people who had sworn off DC because of editorial. I'm looking at Ed Brubaker. If they can get Bendis and Rucka back, they can get Rucka back, they got Bendis. I can see Brubaker coming in for a short thing like Rucka did.
Let's not forget, they also got
Lemire
back, because Lemire was writing several Marvel books.
Yeah, and obviously he was one of the more recent ones to be burned by DC editorial in the New 52, because he was quite late that he kind of gave up on them.
Yeah. And
he went over to the other company, it was kind of like, this is not what I wanted. And
I mean,
here he comes back.
Do you remember when they relaunched his Hawkeye 5 issues into it?
Yep. Well, and then X-Men, he had this X-Men run going, and then they're just like, we're not doing that X-Men now. We're doing it this, and then they did the blue and gold stuff. So if I'm a creative like that, I'm gonna be like, grass wasn't greener. Okay, cool. I'll do creator own for now. I mean, and Black Hammer is still apparently really good. I need to get caught up on it, but
I read the first trade of Black Hammer last month, and it was great.
It's great stuff. Yeah. I just a week or two ago I read his his Essex County.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So good. I just feel like now that Bendis is at DC, there's a lot of things that we'd heard would never happen. And Morrison's coming back to write that, the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, cool. Right.
Do you know what it is amusing? I remember at the start of Rebirth, the big talk of the big poach talk was Hickman. That was the one people were speculating was going to happen.
Which just is relevant because he posted an image on Twitter from the end, I believe, of Dead Poet Society. It's kind of this moment of solidarity where they all stand together. And he never said anything with it, but people, and obviously there's already been rumours that he might be in talks with DC. He met with Jim Lee earlier in the year. And he posted this on the same day that Bendis announced his arrival at DC.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that we've all been speculating. Maybe Hickman's the one to go.
Well, because
no one
hasn't done anything since Secret Wars.
Because no one, because this is the thing about Bendis is like, you know, back when we were saying like who could be on books, and I think when Rookie was leaving Wonder Woman, and we'd speculate, who could replace him, who could be the big name that comes in afterwards. No one ever mentioned Bendis because no one thought for a second that Bendis would ever not be at Marvel.
I don't think there's anyone in the industry like who's gone, hey, Bendis might go to DC. No one expected this, except maybe a few people who were in on it.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. I've also heard some rumblings about, because Bendis is really close with Fraction and Kelly Sue, that there could be a chance of maybe them doing something.
I don't know. I feel like they're mostly doing TV stuff now, because I think they're mostly working on TV shows and stuff now.
Yeah, they've got their own little line of things, and they're doing the Mark Miller thing of let's create comics for TV pitches.
And I feel that's good. So now I just feel like it's name that's not worked at DC or hasn't worked at DC for a while, and throw that in. But this also goes off of Snyder saying that Bendis is just the beginning. Like, they have these other big things coming, and that could literally mean anything, not just writers and artists coming, but storylines. And he'd asked last week, what characters that people aren't doing stuff with would you like to see? And Zatanna was like a resounding, like a lot of people had brought that up, and he said, oh, just wait, we have something for you this week. So now again, he could just be messing with people, and then the Bendis news got announced. So just connecting dots that might not need to be connected. But it's all out there on Twitter. Like, I feel like the comic creators are having fun again, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, on Snyder, actually, I mean, this is just a small thing, but on Twitter he mentioned that they were having one of their DC writers meetings this past week. He was on a plane, he was going to the offices and whatnot, and there was no details like that. But he came out and said, by the way, guys, you have no idea what's coming in 2018. Everything we just planned. And I have to imagine just how hectic or how condensed and just full one of those meetings are, where they all get together, once or twice a year to just map out the next year of comics. Like, what crazy shenanigans have they got planned? And was Bendis at that meeting? Because now he's one of the who knows.
I'd love to just be in that room, just not to find out what's going on, but you got Snyder and Johns and King and Tynion.
Does every meeting start with someone just standing up going, Diddy, no, we're not killing Dick. Sit down.
Yeah. Dan, we said no.
I'll try again next year, guys.
Yeah. All right. He sits in a corner dejected. Jim Lee's trying to get work done, but he just can't because he can't focus. Everyone's talking to him.
I bet this week he's like, hey, Jim, you started on that comic we're meant to be launching next month. He's like, let's delay it. Announce that we're delaying it. Announce that we're pushing it back.
Give me 4 months. That was one of my favorite jokes that came out of a Harley. I think it was Harley Quinn Zero, and they brought in all these artists to do certain pages, and it was just the Harley scene from Hush, and Harley calls that out, and she goes, "Oh yeah, this is Jim Lee. Okay, I understand. You got a lot on your plate, but." It was pretty funny.
That was a pretty inventive issue.
Yes, it was. So, yeah, big time. It's a good time to be a DC fan right now. So
yeah, it's a pretty good time, and hell, even the early impressions of Justice League aren't that bad. So I mean, maybe even the movies won't suck for.
I fell for this on BVS. I'm not doing it again.
Well, no. To be fair, Matt, this is not the same thing. This is all critics, and to be fair, all of the tweets are very balanced. Like, they're all talking about complaints as well. So.
Okay.
I'm still expecting the worst.
Yeah, I mean, go on expecting the worst. I think that's probably a good tactic. But all right, just to wrap this up, then, just to go back to Bendis, I want a dream character or book. No, with Viktor, this is a bit weird because I didn't like him that much.
I'm trying to think. What do I care about the least?
Well, what could he go on that would make you be like, yeah, I'm reading that?
I don't think there is anything that would make me do. I don't think his name is enough on any character that I go, I want to read that.
I mean, you're going to try it anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's the most of them I'll go, yeah, okay, could be all right, I'll try it. I really don't want this on a team book, for example. But there's nothing that I want that would make me go, oh, I need to read that. I don't think.
So for me, outside of Legion, where we all know that's my thing. I would love a Bendis Wally Flash book.
Oh.
Like, I don't want to take Williamson off of Flash right now unless he's, running out. And I've noticed his name has been popping up more and more. Just Williamson is like one of these central architects. So if he goes off Flash, it's fine. But I would like Bendis on Wally to do some fun stuff. I feel like it could be kind of Spider-Man, like Ultimate Spider-Man-ish.
Yeah, no, I can see it. We're talking original Wally here.
Yeah, original Wally, not new Wally.
That's what I thought. That's funny. Yeah, I think I want I think my dream would be on something street level. I mentioned something akin to Gotham Central. Maybe, I don't know, I saw some people suggest a question book.
Maybe.
I could see that working.
I don't see if he does the question. I feel like you gotta kind of stay away from the mystic elements of it a little bit, and make it more of that gritty. But and who knows with what's coming down the line with Rorschach, because he's very much the question in Doomsday Clock, and he's looks like integral. So who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get a new question out of this, and then this can. I could see it.
All right, I'll give you the dream that's not going to happen, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
Here we go.
Spoiler.
Why not?
Give me some Stephanie Brown. I want a Stephanie Brown ongoing. Give it to me. And I feel like his dialogue works well with her witty disposition.
My question is, does he take an established character like this, or does he want to create something new? Because obviously that's been his thing at Marvel lately, where he's been really trying to create new things, and that's why he's been trying to push and stick around.
I feel like you got to establish yourself in the sandbox first before you start creating new stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah, so
I mean, don't get me wrong. I could totally see them actually making a new book for him. Like, they don't want to take King off Batman or Tynion off Detective, but he wants a Batman book. Well, fine, then we start Shadow of the Bat.
I think that's my best case scenario, is that he does something that there's a character that I can already read elsewhere, and he's not taking anyone off it.
Connor, do you have any idea how unfulfilling it is to hear all your suggestions just be, I just don't want him to touch anything that I care about, and we'll just leave him there?
No, this is it, though. That's the best case scenario. It's like, okay, if you want a Batman book, great. You've got a Bendis Batman book. But I still get my other books. I don't have to worry. If I don't like it, I don't have to read it. But I'm not losing my Batman.
I shouldn't pick and Connor too much for this, because if Hickman does come to DC, that is going to be my stance on Hickman. On something I don't care about, please.
Let me just put this out there. If Hickman comes, keep him away from Legion, please. I want to be able to read it.
Do you know what the thing is, though, Matt? That is exactly the kind of thing he's going to want to do. It feels so Hickman-y.
Yeah.
See, at least we all agree we don't like Hickman, though. So that we're all.
I'm the
it's
odd
not that
one
I don't like him, because I enjoyed his Secret Warriors. I don't like him when he has these big, huge concepts that you have to read the two books at the same time in order to get it all.
I read a lot of that Avengers run. I read up until Infinity, which was the big event that it built up to. I between those two books and that event, I read like 50 issues or something like that of his Avengers.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, and it wasn't the end of the run, it was just after Infinity, I went, that wasn't worth it. I kind of regret spending my time reading all those. And that was me. I left it.
Hickman, I don't think Hickman's a bad writer. I just hate reading his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he does good first issues. I loved the first issue of Manhattan Projects, and then I read the rest of the first trade and basically didn't like the rest of it, but I liked that first issue a lot. Yeah. It's weird. Even the same with Avengers, I loved the first issue of his Avengers, and then it just kind of started to get weird with all this weird people living on the moon bollocks I didn't like. Anyway, so I guess that wraps up our Bendis discussion. By all means, let us know in the comments and stuff, or on Twitter, what your sort of dream books for Bendis to take over is, or if you're with Connor's side of the line, like what are you scared of?
Right?
So no, people will. Some people really don't like him. I heard people who are fans of Marvel regret or be like, upset about it, and I also heard fans of Marvel who were like, oh good, he's DC's problem now, take him. Like I seen both of those.
One of the sports personalities I listened to anytime like there was movement in baseball, he would track the fans that would be like, oh hey, that guy going to your team, that's great, versus the have fun with so and so, and that's how you could tell if he was going to enjoy that player or not, if the opposite team. And I've seen my more fair share of people with Bendis going, oh wow, he's going. What must have happened? more than good riddance.
I do think it's funny though that the one thing in the world that I actually speak about in like first person or like the collective first person, like because people do it with sports teams. The one thing I do it with is comics because I'm like, oh, we got Bendis. We as if I'm DC.
Well, it's not like our handle isn't DC Comics Podcast, so like.
Yeah. I mean, our bias is clear at this point. Let's be honest. That said, though, I complimented several Bendis Marvel runs there in that conversation. So you know what? It's not all bad. I'm looking forward to X-Men Red, which they announced this week because Tom Taylor's writing it.
I do like Tom Taylor.
You know, his all new Wolverine's good. I've got 3 issues or so to catch up in that, but I like it. So
much as I love
like
redheads, I can't care for the return of Jean Grey.
I do like that the main character's a redhead though, and it's called X-Men Red. There is a humour to that I do enjoy. All right, let's talk about books.
I noticed we talked about some of the advanced books, the advanced solicits that we got, and then obviously stuff we heard about last week. We didn't hear about a Batman Wonder Woman book as of yet, and I feel like that would have been the one to lead the charge if that was coming in February, like we were told.
Oh sure, yeah, because who's doing that? Sharp. No.
Sharp.
Yeah.
Is it Sharp? Okay, it's Sharp.
Yeah, it was Sharp.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, we didn't hear about that. That's odd. Oh, and just one, I don't want to drag the podcast down, but just, we know about all this Eddie Berganza stuff, or Berganza, whatever his name is.
Berganza.
He's a piece of shit. DC should do something about it. I don't want to drag this show down. Because me and Connor on the TV news video for the last few weeks have had to talk about Weinstein, we've had to talk about Kevin Spacey. I'm not doing it again. I've said my piece. Just deal with him.
That said, I feel like DC has been dealing with it just quietly because I don't see his name pop up on editorials as much as I used to. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. He's still crediting all the Superman books, though.
God damn it.
So, I know at least one website is refusing to review any more books that he's credited in until he's removed or whatever.
Which website was that, do you know?
Comicosity, I believe, was the website. I didn't want to talk about it, but at the same time, I don't want to just completely ignore it because the reason why we're in this pickle with all this stuff coming out now in all these industries is because people don't want to talk about it. So it's acknowledged, it's happened, he's a piece of shit, and we can move on with our lives. So these victims not so much, but at least not easily. But here we are.
We're going to. If you're going to be a perv, don't start with yourself. Touch yourself. And then leave everyone else alone.
Well, that doesn't always work out because Louis C.K.'s in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, I know.
Same thing.
There's just that saying, like, if you're gonna go on a mass shooting, start with yourself. Like, I feel like
that was a dark comment.
That is.
Right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it saves lives, but still, call a helpline.
Start with yourself, and I just feel like, look, keep your hands to yourself. It's not that hard to be a human being. Like,
there you go.
It drives me nuts that this is happening.
Yeah, me and Connor have had this discussion on like 2 occasions recently.
Yeah, we've probably spent a good hour, maybe a bit more, on the record talking about this.
Yeah,
so.
Even Terry Crews coming up. Not that Terry Crews. Just for the record, not that Terry Crews was accused of anything. He was the victim of something. Just in case anyone didn't hear that. Yeah, but anyway, books. We're going to talk about books, comic books, because. Those are nice, right? They're fun. So, first up, Batman Lost #1, which is written, and let's see if I got all these names down, Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson, with art by Jorge Jimenez, Doug Mahnke, and Yanick Paquette.
Yeah? Yep. And that's what I was talking about, Williamson's name coming up as one of the essential architects. Like, he did, Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, and stuff. So... this is cool. As someone that's followed his career for a little bit now, it's awesome that he's starting to work his way up to this. Because Tynion and Snyder, they work together super well. Like, one mentored the other. So, Williamson's getting in on this. And
to be fair, I just want on Tynion, it's funny how much my opinion of him has evolved. Because when he started, okay, the backups that he was doing in Batman were fine, but, he did Talon, and I read the first issue of that, and I was like, I don't want to read this.
He was really hit or miss for a while.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think it's almost like he was getting better as he was going. He was learning his craft, but then on top of that, I think he got to a point where now you actually have the access to all the characters you wanted to write. So now he's just he's knocking it out. Anyway, so this is a one shot, which is basically a psychological David Lynch-esque dream issue inside Batman's head, while he's in Dark Multiverse attached to one of these towers, and it's basically Barbatos in his head messing with him and try to basically convince him to just sort of give up and let Barbatos take control, which is shown through Bruce Wayne is sort of imagining he's a grandfather, and his granddaughter's asking him to tell him Batman stories, and there's a cool little thing where the shelf has all the Batman trades essentially versions on it. Dark Victory's there, Hush is there. At one point the girl even says, "Oh, I like the Long Halloween," or I think Batman says, "Oh, let me tell you about the Long Halloween."
He goes, "Yeah, let's talk about the Long Halloween." And she goes, "No, I already heard that one. Let's go back to your first."
Yeah,
and I liked. What's that?
I was going to say, like some of the other ones you can see there, No Justice and Court of Owls.
Yeah.
But
it all goes back to the first Batman story and how they play with that, and I kind of like that on a meta level. Is the granddaughter's like, "No, that's not how it went," and Bruce kind of like, "No, I was there. This is how it went," and it's how it's changed over the retellings over the character's existence. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and
it's very similar to what King did in Batman with the Catwoman stuff.
Yeah, kind of. Yep. But as it's going on inside the story, it keeps changing like a dream does, where he'll end up somewhere else in a different situation. One, it's like a post-apocalyptic world where Damien's leading like this resistance fighters who want to kill Batman. One, it's he's his ancestor, his grandfather in a cult. Who are going to murder this woman, who I thought looked Selena Kyle when we saw her.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I noticed there too, like, there was the names Thomas and Jefferson, and I couldn't get over that. Like, that couldn't have been
I
coincidental.
Caught that as well.
Yeah, and it felt like very, like American Revolution era. But yeah, she looked a lot like Selena, which, not that it was distracting, but I was like, this has to be for a reason.
I don't think it was an accident. I think it was the point was it was the image of someone he cared about.
Yeah, it was a representation, wasn't it?
It's really that simple. Did I like this issue though? I think that's a harder question because it is a very. Well, that's Matt. I feel like if anyone's going to hate this, out of anyone, it's going to be Matt. Mm-hmm. So Matt, how did you feel about Batman Lost?
I liked it a lot. I liked what it did with Batman. Like, it fulfills its title. It's, Batman's in this situation because he couldn't trust others to do this. Like, he played right into the hands of the Court of Owls and Barbatos, however we're pronouncing it. And so this is him stuck in his own kind of personal hell, right? Where he has to keep reliving these events and what led him to this. And it feels like there's nothing he can do about it. But we all know that's not true because he's Batman. He'll find a way. And I liked it.
It's funny actually because last week Connor was concerned about the multiple artists, and I said, "Oh, I bet it's all different stories, and they all take different ones."
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, I like this issue in a lot of ways, but in other ways, I have some problems. I feel like I really like everything it's doing, everything it's saying, but I feel like it takes a couple of reads to really. Yeah, because it's kind of disjointed. Like you say, it's like a dream. Things keep changing. It kind of just jumps around.
Yeah.
And you compared it to Lynch, and I think it works better on screen because you can kind of see the transition. Whereas here, you just go from one thing to the next. It's kind of really sudden. You turn a page and you're somewhere else completely.
I agree with that. I think that's why.
I like that.
I think that's why sometimes Grant Morrison throws me a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes he nails it, but sometimes it's like, this would work better on a screen.
Yeah, I like that they're kind of going all in on the Morrison mythos of the whole like everything happened. He says it's like even if they all contradict each other, it all happened in some way.
It mentions him Barbatos seeing him back in time, and there's this idea. So we get to towards the end of the issue, and Barbatos is like, "No, I am the Bat," and it even implies that he was the Bat that flew into the window that made him become Batman, and that sparked the idea. Now I don't think that's literally what's happening here. I don't think that's what happened, but I think he's trying to perverse the image of the Bat, and he's trying to say, hey, it's kind of like Darkseid is like, Barbatos is like, I am here, and he implies that the only reason why you're like the way you are is because I was here guiding you. Like all these other Bruce Waynes and all these other universes, they're all messed up. They all went on to do awful things. Look at all of them. You're only as strong as you are because I'm here.
Well, he tells him that too. Go ahead, Connor.
You said, you don't know if it's true that he perverted the Bat, he was the Bat and stuff. I like the idea that you can choose either or. It's up to you.
I don't think that's true at all because if Barbatos saw him fall through time because of Final Crisis, right? Then Batman was already the Bat.
Yeah,
right. He's already chosen that for himself.
Yeah, this is one of those. It's those time paradox things, isn't it?
So I feel like that's gonna be Barbatos's undoing. Is he? And look at me being positive about Batman. It's like, no, Bruce chose this for himself instead of in all these different dark versions that we've seen through Metal. This Bruce has actually made the right decision.
Because here's the thing, right? If Barbatos was that Bat and he was there to inspire the choice to become the Batman specifically, then it's predetermined, and I absolutely despise that with every fibre of my being. Which is why, if you think that's the case, you're just wrong. There's no choice. You're just wrong. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Connor's wrong all the time.
Well, now that's what I think it is.
See, I think there is an option here where it's if Barbatos did do that, it's the idea that maybe it was predetermined that he would become Batman, but going back to what Matt said, it's like, but he was already Batman when Barbatos learned about him. So it's it's this who gave who the idea. Maybe he wasn't predetermined, and maybe it's one of those close circle loops that you don't know.
What I'm getting from Metal is every universe is always gonna have a Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like because of the things that have happened, and it's almost these Dark Knights tie-ins have almost been like, well, it's Batman's own decision that destroys these universe, and if he makes the wrong one, then it all goes to hell, and it's going to be destroyed.
Oh no, but it's not those Batman's decisions that destroy those universes, though.
I guess. See, this is where it starts to get into that.
No, because it's been made pretty clear that these universes are created because they're what would happen if the other choice was made from our Batman, right?
Right.
And that's why all the universes are created, and that's why they have a time limit. They're they're not destroyed for a reason. They're on a time limit to begin with. As soon as they're created, they're on a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. Right, but they're made from that bad decision.
Yeah, but that's kind of from like not their Batman that made that. Well, it kind of is their Batman, but it's a splinter, right? So one was stayed being our Batman, and then the other one veered off.
The reason that this one's not part of the Dark Mold, and this is why the Batman Lash is collecting them all, is so they can, have their chance and do what they feel was the right decision, but I don't. It's just one of those things where now, like Connor said, everything happened, but it's not like you exactly know. We can reference it. It's a lot like Dr. Hurt making up all those stories about Batman's family in
because I hate the idea that anything like Batman making the choice to become Batman, the whole idea that his parents being shot is random, like the idea that anything is predetermined or its destiny is like abhorrent to me, which is why it's like no, Barbatos has been doing this because he saw him when he went back in time, and that's why it's happening.
And now he's trying to pervert it because that's what Barbatos does. He's this force of evil or self, whatever it is. I don't necessarily think he's evil personified. I just feel like he's just trying to corrupt.
Because part of me even wonders, because it went back to the dawn of time, right? When he went back in time, and Bruce went back, it was the dawn of time. Like, was he already like a bat? Like, the Barbatos, like that's what they're calling him now. But was he, was he just this? Was he just evil incarnate? Like he didn't have a presence. Oh. Did he take the image of the bat from Bruce?
This is why I like the idea that maybe he was the bat, because it's like who inspired who then in that circle. Because ultimately, I think Bruce was he wasn't inspired to do something by the bat. The image was inspired by the bat. That's all. The idea of him wanting to do something was already there. It was just a bat. That's what I'll use as my symbol.
Image?
Yeah. So. It's only the symbol itself that is predetermined, not Bruce
Snyder,
doing things.
Snyder's writing all this too, and I remember Court of Owls starting with an owl eating the bat. You know what I mean? And then so again, this goes back into circles. Then if the owls were the bird or the hawk or the bird clan that turned, and that's what started the Bat Clan, then what's with the Court of Owls trying to bring the end of Batman? You know what I mean? Like, it's all of this circular reasoning that I'm sure will be all cleared up by the end of Metal, or it's changing on the fly in order to fit the story, and that's fine too. But no, I like all this, and I kind of want more of the prehistoric thing and the different clans. I was really digging that story with him fighting and the axe, and they tie in the Hawks in there. and Hath Set is his descendant. Which again, I don't believe for 1 second, because the Waynes themselves were forces of good in Gotham. Throughout time, from the time the Waynes landed in Gotham. So yeah, I just feel it's Barbatos trying to break down Bruce.
Yeah, I just like the implication that any of this is destiny always bothers me with certain characters, because when it's supposed to be random that they've made the choice to do something, that just bugs me.
But here's the question though: is it destiny that Darkseid hit him with the Omega sanction and sent him back in time? Would that always have happened no matter what? Because of Barbatos, you know what I mean?
No. Well, no, because how many times in comic books do we have someone, like an evil version of someone from the future, and we're never going to get to that future because it's not all destiny. We can change the future. We can alter it.
Yeah.
So, by the same token, I think the whole going back in time and then
don't you bring science into this, okay? Jeez.
It's not even real science. It's just that comic books own science. It's what they've established in other stories, and we've got multiple versions of that even going on right at this minute in different books.
Yep. I think the thing for me is I don't want to decide if it's predetermined or not. If it was Barbatos that was the bat or not. I don't want to know, but I like the option that it could have been. I like the implication that maybe. That's all. I don't want it determined either way.
Yeah, I just took it that he's trying to mess with Bruce and add that seed of doubt there, because once you can make Bruce start doubting himself, then he no longer is Batman.
Yeah, that's why I think he's trying to pervert it. And he's trying to say, no, this symbol that you think is yours, it was always me. I was always there.
I think that's the most likely, yeah. But
I feel when this all comes out and Batman strikes down at Barbatos, and he's going to have a line that's like, well, no, I inspired you because that's the way that I'm going to defeat you, or whatever. He's going to turn that negative into a positive. At least that's what I hope.
Yeah, but then to go back to, Pete said, oh, maybe Barbatos wasn't a bat before he saw Batman. Then it's the idea that then, no, Bruce can go, no, you're beholden to me. I'm the bat here.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah. You said it more concise than I am. And also, if I'm trying to remember from the Morrison, I got to go back and read The Return of Bruce Wayne. But weren't the people that were living in the caves under where Wayne Manor would be, they were fearful of the bat, and Batman killed that big gigantic bat.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you for sure it was under Wayne Manor, but I do recall him killing the giant bat that we're all scared of.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's where it all starts from too, is, he saw this person that could destroy him, and he wants to, well, if he's the one thing that can destroy me, let's not do that. So, but I liked what I had to say. I liked the art changing. Like, anytime I can see Yanick Paquette's layouts, it's like my favorite thing. I just love the way he does that.
Paquette's layouts are amazing, but I think it's Jimenez's art that steals it for me here. And it's got this great thing where on the start of most of his pages, it has this little vertical panel that comes down with like the curve, almost like a bat wing sort of thing. I loved that.
Yeah. I don't think I loved it as much as you two did.
This always breaks my brain.
What?
Because I figured you would have been all over this. I'm reading this and going, Pete's loving this.
I like parts of it. I loved it. See that double page spread where Barbatos is like, yeah, all the evil versions of you, like, you would be like this without me. Then the second double page spread that I like specifically is when he's showing like the basically what's going on in Bats Out of Hell with all the evil evil Batman fighting the Justice League, and then like his cape is like swooping down for the bottom half of that double page, and it's like there's like the red images in each part of the cape.
That's the Paquette stuff, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah, because the other one is Mahnke, the one before that, and I loved it because Barbatos looks like a dark and twisted Spectre. Yeah. The Spectre. And you have all these different stuff, and I just, full of good art. And then, too, where his granddaughter, when he puts it together, and she jumps up onto the ceiling, and like some creature, I thought, Mahnke is perfect for this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Just bone chilling. So, yeah, good issue. I really enjoyed it.
That was okay. I feel like it's poking at some things that I don't know if I like. I need to see where they go. But as it is right now, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'll see what you're doing.
See, I want them to leave it at just poked at the idea like this, and then no more. That's
That's fine. I never have to deal with it then if they just leave it at poked. But if they go deeper down this rabbit hole, I could have complaints. Anyway, so yeah. Well, I suppose that'll take us on to the other metal-related book this week, which is Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 32, Robert Venditti on writing and Ethan Van Sciver on art. And Bats Out of Hell is easily the weakest part of metal. I'm going to say it.
It is, but this is the best issue of that.
I'm with Connor.
It's the best issue of it because you have that really fun sequence of Hal strobing his light.
Mm-hmm.
That's a well done sequence. I will give you that. It still ultimately just comes down to him fighting his evil Batman version for most of the issue. It's not really until the last couple of pages where it feels like, oh, okay, right. I feel like there's maybe some advancement here.
I agree, but I feel like at least it did something interesting with the fight compared to the other stuff.
No, that's true.
And the fact that it's Hal's book, it can really focus on him, kind of like Flash did at the beginning. As I felt like the last issue was squeezing everybody in, and we didn't get as much time, to feel all that. And any time someone can touch on the rivalry between Bruce and Hal, I'm a fan of, because sometimes I forget that's a thing. So here, where he's fighting a version of Bruce, I love it. I love Hal's swagger. This is probably the most I've liked Venditti's Hal.
There was a couple of moments. There was what was it he said? At one point he says, "I'm here to rock" or something like that, and I went, "That was a bit cringy."
See,
yeah,
in a regular issue of this, I would agree. I'd be like, ugh. But in metal, I'm like, yeah, just go for it.
Well, does he call him emo? And I'm just like, I'm trying to find it now.
I kind of let things slide when it's part of metal. When it's like that, I'm just kind of, because it feels like they're playing it up to kind of play into the whole idea, like we've seen in the main book. Yeah, so it's a bit more enjoyable. He does. He says, "Yeah, you stepped up to the mic with your emo crap. I came to rock."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
I don't know. There was a few lines of dialogue like that, and there was whatever. And like I say, it didn't feel like it advanced too much. I will agree that the strobing fight was cool.
I think it's because it had a pulse to it, had an energy that a lot of these issues haven't.
Yeah, it made the Dawnbreaker feel a bit more intimidating than maybe what we had last issue with the others. But that said, though, when I got to the end, then I was like, "Oh, that's the end. I'm done." So like, I felt like the fight took up most of the issue, and I got to the end, and it was just like, okay, they've all beat their Justice League members, and they're all carrying them towards the tuning fork.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that was it.
I can't argue with that, but at least it means we don't have to have any more issues of the fighting, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, we got one last... This is the funny thing, it's like, if you said, "Oh, well, next issue is Justice League, you don't normally read that, could you skip it?" And I'm like, well, yeah, but if anything's going to happen in this crossover, it's going to be the last issue now, right? So, that's also, whatever it is.
This Element X they're going to take out of Cyborg, what is this? Is that the... apocalyptic technology that they used.
It implied it was the Mother Box stuff, didn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose the one notable thing to mention is at the end, the Batman Who Laughs is like, "Yeah, we're using the tuning fork because once we're done with this Earth, we're going to take over all the Earths and the
I like the idea. It's again, it's just it's way bigger in scope. It's like, forget one Earth, we're going after all 52.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Then Sciver art with Liam Sharp in there too, doing backup. I think. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I also like how they incorporated the darker spectrum. Atrocitus pops up and Hector Hammond and Sinestro. Oh yeah,
that's the Dawnbreaker makes constructs of like Hal's villains, his rogue gallery.
But, and you had obviously in the Dawnbreaker's Batcave, you had the half decomposed bodies of all of those.
Yeah, there was that one panel where there was
trophies.
Yeah, there was that one panel where you had a sentence from each of the different core members. Mm-hmm. Sinestro was like, "Oh, I taught you better than this," and then you had the orange one, which is Larfreeze and stuff.
I love the stuff in the cave because he's got I think it's Atrocitus tied up to that's his giant penny coin.
Yeah,
is Atrocitus against it? It's just these nice twists on the cave.
Well, and then he has Sinestro's uniform on display, like it's one of the Robins.
Yeah, it's like it's the Jason Todd's one, isn't it?
Yeah, and so I like that because I like to think that maybe Sinestro had come down and tried to work with Dawnbreaker, and it didn't work out, because he's so corrupted. But yeah, it was a fine issue. I think it is the best out of the bats out of hell.
I think so. While I agree, it's still kind of a weak story. At least this one I enjoyed reading, unlike the other. Whereas some of the others I found like were actual chore to read. This one had an energy; it flowed. I enjoyed it at least.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm just kind of middling on it because this Bats Out of Hell's not been that great.
It's not working though. No, I agree.
So we'll move on. I think we've got a lot to say to that beyond what it's set up at the end. So, but that takes us on to Detective Comics 968, the final part of the Lonely Place of Living plotline, in which we have Tim's fighting Tim's, and
on so many double page spreads.
A lot of double page spreads.
Yeah.
We
so
had
many.
Batman and the four Robins in fighter planes shooting down drones from
and top notch
Colony.
banter. Let's not forget.
We had banter. Yeah, just Jason saying to Damien, "What diapers? So you mean like a week ago?" and stuff like that.
Man.
Maybe Jason's
almost makes it like Jason Todd.
Yeah, Jason not being a waste of space for a change. And yeah, so it was basically them fighting, Brother Eyes Online. The drones are going to kill Batwoman, so they're all racing to the Belfry to try and deal with it. And Tim fights Tim, shenanigans, a lot of fighting, a lot of stuff going on. I particularly liked the moment where so the drones first attack, Batwoman gets out of her cell, and she's like, right, the rest of you guys run, I'll try and hold them off, you go get to safety, they're not after you. And then Cass is like, no. And do you know what just occurred to me with Cass?
Mm-hmm.
What she's like? She's like 11 from Stranger Things.
Kind of.
Yeah.
She has the same vocal pattern.
Yeah, she's like, no, together. And I'm like, I could just hear 11's voice from Stranger Things in my head.
You've just fan cast her then, haven't you? Give it a couple of years.
True. Oh, that said, though, I would kind of be whitewashing her, though, to be fair.
A little bit. Yeah.
No, we have an Asian actress. But
I think I forget because you don't see her face all the time.
Yeah,
she's got the full face mask.
But I like too how it was the lower tier of the Bat characters. It wasn't the Robins and Batman. It was Orphan and
your mic is creeping in. Brother Eyes coming in.
Yeah. Honestly, I love this issue a lot. But the best part is the two Tims talking. Whenever they're just having a conversation is the high point.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And throughout the issue, older Tim, it's like he's starting to distort, and he's like his reality's starting to warp. Basically, the timeline's trying to reset and put him back to where he belongs. So
hyper time.
So yeah, he has this
hour.
last ditch effort kind of thing going for him, where he feels like he's just trying to get it done quickly before he's leaving. So it gives it this countdown vibe to it, this ticking time bomb where he's trying to get it done. And then once he actually fails, and it's clear that he's failed, he's very sort of bittersweet about it. And he's like, Tim, enjoy this while you've got it, because it's all going to go away very quickly. I think the only thing this was missing was Steph.
Connor Kent.
No, Matt.
Damn it.
I think the Steph stuff's coming though.
I'm sure it is.
We're going to get that devoted next, I assume.
Yeah, I'm sure next issue is going to have Tim reuniting with Steph. I was kind of expecting a big moment of her.
I think that's why it's not here though. They want to save it and devote it to itself rather than kind of just shove it in the middle of all this.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just kind of hoping for it as I was reading it.
You pick up what older Tim tells Damien, or what he did to John.
Go on.
Yeah, he said, you won't be able to sleep. I'm trying to find out where to go.
Yeah, he says what you did to that Kent boy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the line.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what are they teasing for Super Sons?
Yeah.
I know. No, the best panel though is definitely the two Tims standing there, looking out at the city, and you just see them from behind, and the different capes. It's so good.
Yeah, no, it's really there's almost not as much to talk about in this one because it is just kind of the big final fight and everything culminating. But they earned it, like everything built up to it, and you felt the emotion as it was everything was racing to its finish.
This has been some of the best of Detective Comics in a long time, in my opinion. I've been enjoying it, but this has been like reinvigorated it for me.
What I like about Detective Comics is it's always you can count on it. Like, it might not be the best story, but it's still...
It's always enjoyable, but it's at its best when Tim's around.
Well...
No, it's at its best when Steph's around.
I just like both of them. I just want it when they're both there.
I just think... I understand why it's done it, but a lot of the stuff between when Tim's left, I was like, okay, I'm waiting. I want Tim back. I'm just waiting.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite. So what can I say?
Well, and now he's back officially, so we'll see.
Yeah, we can get into that, and we can explore
this
some
impacts
of go into some of the Brother Eye stuff now coming up, I assume.
Yeah. You and Brother Eye.
Wait, I thought Brother Eye was dealt with in this issue though.
He took him with him.
Is he all with him though? Because obviously he already existed.
Brother Eye's not fully realized yet.
Yeah,
he had said that.
Because he's like, yeah, I built it, and then Batwing's like, yeah, and I rebuilt, so they take control, and it feels like, okay, it's done. Right. Like, at least for now.
I want them to confront Bruce. I want Tim to come up to Bruce and go, like, why have you done this? What's this all about?
Well, and even older Tim says this is all kind of Bruce's fault for not being able to deal with your own stuff. Like you pass it on to us, and you gave us this curse, and you had no right to do that. So I definitely feel like there's going to be tension with Tim and Bruce going forward. But
here's the question though: is whatever Batwoman was going to do, does it still happen anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Maybe it still happens, but if it does still happen, it won't lead to what it led to before.
Oh no, I'm sure it won't lead to this. Obviously, that would be just weird. But I'm just intrigued as to whether it happens at all, or if now they're aware that she's supposed to do something. If it doesn't happen,
I almost feel like there's a heel turn coming for her because we had that stuff in Batwoman Rebirth, right? That kind of teased this Days of Future Bat stuff. But then you also look in New Order where she shows up and she started the Crusader program.
I can see her kind of going back and embracing the soldier angle.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like she's not meant to be the Bat, she's meant to do other things, and that kind of turns them where...
Possibly. I wonder, though, if it's maybe going to be more of a story of, like, she can see where she can go, and again, because she knows of where she's going to go, that she'll make the choice to be something else.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she'll have this plot where she kind of, like, almost has her Batman Forever kind of story. I mean, it's a weird thing to reference, but the idea where she is like, no, this is why I'm Batwoman, this is why I do this.
I wonder if coming up every time she has to make a choice, she'll be like, is this the choice that will turn them against me? Is this the choice Tim was on about? And what's the right choice and what's the wrong one?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and now the others know that too, so, that's not
watching her closely, I assume.
Well, not just watching her closely, is like whatever leads to it, they can help. They're a support structure. That's what they're, they're meant for. That's why he put her in charge of the Belfry.
Maybe that's what changes it. Maybe like we'll get to the point where she's going to make this decision,
and
then Tim will be there by her side and be like, "No, let's work this out together." It'll be
might well be, yeah.
Because we're the Gotham Knights, God damn it.
Yeah,
such a good.
I also feel like they brought back Ulysses for a reason. Like he was living out on the colony ship, on his own. But
because
that Robin suit there.
Yeah, we knew he had the Robin suit because he took it last time we saw him. But that plot beat didn't necessarily add that much. It added the little Brother Eye thing it just mentioned it was an introduction. This issue could have functioned perfectly well without it. So, like you say, it's what's the plan with him? Something's got to be coming up.
We're reminding us that he's there.
We're not done with him. Yeah, there'll be more plot with him.
So that's why I'm wondering. He's so colony focused. With her dad and stuff, it almost makes me wonder if it has something to do with Ulysses and Tim, and maybe she chooses Ulysses over Tim, and that's what drives them.
I don't know. I think what it does at the start of this issue is that it makes it very clear where these drones are coming from. Because I feel like it may feel a little bit cheap if it just like there was a panel where someone just says, "Oh, it's all the drones from the colony." Brother Eye's activated them.
Yeah, but again, you didn't have to show Ulysses there.
Oh no, you didn't. No,
you could have just been a colony ship.
It could have been an empty room. Yeah, they could have been. Yeah. But that's what it does, though. And obviously he reacts to it and he's like, oh no, maybe I should stop this. Oh no, wait, maybe I can see what my work can finally do.
Yeah, little psychopath.
Well, they've all been shot down there, though.
Was he watching what was going on? Like, how much does he know now? How much did he see?
Right.
So, no, that's Detective. So that'll take us on to Action Comics 991. Dan Jurgens writing, Viktor Bogdanovic on art. This is the final part of the Oz Effect. And I think this is a really weird one to kind of like place now that it's over, in sense of I think expectations for what this could have been kind of damping on what you maybe feel about it as a whole, because
I don't know about that. I think I like it more after the fact.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think I like the story as a whole more after the fact as well, now that I know what it ended as. but at the same time, it never was anything that I think any of us were remotely expecting.
No.
I think instead of being this earth-shattering story with all the possibilities of who Mr. Oz was before this, I think ultimately it ended up just being a pretty decent Superman story. But not like a super important one. Not one that you're going to say to people in years from now, you have to go back and read the Oz Effect. The Oz Effect is a prominent story.
I'll agree with that.
I think if I was going to criticise it, I would say it's maybe an issue too long.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's
Definitely.
really notable compared to Lonely Place of Living, which felt really tight, and that was an issue or two less.
Yeah.
It was an issue less. Because all the stuff that's set up with Oz and them trying to make the world turn, to make Cal turn, I felt like they wasted a lot of time for that for kind of no payoff. For him just to destroy the staff and, now it's settled.
Which I thought I thought that was really easy as well, by the way. It was just the staff that was doing it.
Yeah, which I thought was, in some ways, was interesting. It's like, okay, so, it was never about Oz, really. It was, he was just a pawn after all.
Well, yeah, because, obviously, I think the most exciting stuff in terms of plot is the fact that he's clearly talking about Manhattan towards, or at least that's what we think he's talking about at the end of the issue, where he's like, he saved me, and I want to get you out of harm's way because he's this dangerous. But you also find out the staff is manipulating him and making him, the darker version of Jor-El that he is, which implies that he is actually Jor-El. So you've got
also
that
what
going.
Oz tells Cal is, I didn't make anybody do this. I presented them with a choice, and this is what they chose to do. And I feel that's along the same lines of Oz himself.
freaking Jigsaw.
No, I guess. I've only seen 3 of those movies, so
it's 3 too many.
Yeah,
I've seen 8 of them. I've seen 8 of the bloody things.
Yeah, but I feel that was the same with him. Is it wasn't necessarily the staff, but it kind of created this feedback loop where he was getting what he wanted.
Well, hold on a minute. As soon as he breaks his staff, he immediately snaps out of it. He's like, "Oh, it was defecting me. What have I done, son? I love you, son." He immediately changed.
We knew that he loved him.
But he immediately changed his personality. How can you say the staff wasn't affecting him?
Yeah,
it's like a light switch.
Right. Well, no, I just mean when he first took up this mission as Mr. Oz. You know what I mean? It came from a good place, but it ultimately, that is what corrupted him. That's what led to him. Because
I think
who knows?
I think it's a slow corruption. Even though we see the effects of a light switch when it stops. It's like, I'm free. Hang on, what am I thinking? I think over time it's built to this point of being Oz. He thought it was the best of intentions, and it's kind of wormed his way into his mind.
Do we presume that Manhattan gave him this staff?
Yeah.
I think that's the way it's presented, but I think that's too easy.
I also feel with Oz and Ozymandias and his MO from Watchmen, I feel there's more going on with Manhattan.
Yeah, why the name choice? And also the way he disappears does not look like Manhattan vanishes.
No. Outside
instantaneous.
Yeah, outside of the blue, the very blue.
Outside of the light, but it's not the usually when Manhattan teleports someone, it's just instant. They're gone. They're not there anymore. Yeah. This is like a portal opens and he goes into it. This is completely
and it swallows
different.
him.
Yeah.
So there may be more to that. Obviously, it's teasing for Doomsday Clock, which is cool. But I think a lot of it just feels a little bit like it's all this build throughout the whole arc of what he's trying to get Clark to do, and I think the message that it's sending for Clark actually works really well. I think one of my favourite pages of the entire book is that page he's on the roof at the end after Jor-El's went away, and he's just listening to the planet, and you just see all those superhearing bubbles.
That's the second best moment of the book. The best moment is the final moment. People, where are you going? Back to Earth. Yeah, that's Superman there.
Oh, sure, no, it absolutely is. But I think that little ending was like, you know what? I think this would have been a really solid story with maybe an issue less, and maybe with a little bit less kind of like constant build up of who Mr. Oz is, because I think honestly we had a lot of fun ideas for who Mr. Oz was, and we said that Jor-El will be fine, but it's probably the most boring one, and I still kind of feel that way.
I think this will be better once you reread it, knowing, because obviously we're talking about how it's better after the fact. We were expecting a swerve the whole time.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And then you're going, oh, I guess it was just Jor-El, and but if you read this going in knowing that okay, it's Jor-El, maybe it plays better that way.
I think there's just something about it actually being Jor-El, and he's acting this way because he's being influenced by this staff. It just feels a little bit too easy.
It'd be more interesting if Jor-El had actually been twisted into this. I think it's one of those. It's more cynical, more disappointing because you know Clark loses his father again in that way. You know, like, he thinks he's there, and then it's like, but he's not the person he thinks he was. He's lost this ideological hero. But instead, it's just, oh no, it's just a staff. He was corrupted. It's fine. It wasn't really him.
Yeah. So that just feels a bit easy. Like I say, I like the pages after that though. Everything at the end with him going, oh, the world's losing hope. So what are you going to do? I'm going back to work. Yeah. And he flies off. Like, it's pure Superman. So it's got some great moments in there. The actual character stuff from Superman's perspective is solid. I think an issue less, and I don't know, maybe just rework some of the Aussie parts
just
of it.
Make it not such a mystery, I think, would have been better.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think between this and The Lonely Place of Living, which have obviously been very heavily tied together, Lonely Place of Living wins out of the two of them.
Only one of them referenced Connor Kent, so y'all know where my vote is.
Yeah. Oh, it's worth.
And it wasn't the Superman story.
No,
that's quite funny. No. Worth referencing, he does find his old lair. He sees that that's where Mixie. I'll just say Mixie. Mixie's Pitalik, whatever. He finds out his cell. He sees that Doomsday is there. All this other stuff. So he gets to see all of that. And so no, but also, at least I did
just went back over and read the breaking of the, and it was the personality change is huge, but it's also that it was healing him, so like it was keeping the kryptonite poisoning in check.
Yeah, he's got kryptonite in his eye, in his head.
Yeah,
because he shoots a beam of it out.
It's pretty cool when he does that, to be fair.
Yeah.
I do think it's exciting though that Clark actually references this threat. He actually says, "Who is this? Who is powerful enough to do this?" He actually he obviously not by name. He doesn't know who it is yet, but he is actually talking about this threat coming. Like he believes it exists. He doesn't just think it's nothing now. Especially since Jor-El vanishes. Like something takes him.
Yeah.
So he's aware of the threat. So it's been very nicely timed because obviously, Joe. I actually think as I was reading this, I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool little tease. And I think the timing is impeccable because I think this is actually the first tease. Like, had we not had Doomsday Clock in like a couple of weeks, I think this is the point where I'd say they've been teasing this a little bit too long. But because Doomsday Clock's in a couple of weeks, I'm like, no, perfect timing. Like, I feel like Doomsday Clock's coming at the exact time where I was going to be over the line of like, okay, they've been dragging this out too long. It's just a nice. I think the year and a half that it's spent has just been the nice amount of time.
I think for the overall story, I agree. I think it was too long for Mr. Oz on a personal level, on his identity. I think we went too long.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. No, but I'm talking about Manhattan. I'm talking about the rebirth. I'm talking about the rebirth plot and the Doomsday, the Watchmen like payoff that we've been waiting for.
I agree because it's coming so soon.
Yeah.
I almost wish that they had told the readers that Jor-El was Mr. Oz, and then let Superman find out, during this.
Yeah, if we had known that like months ago, but Superman didn't. Yeah, that may have been.
So they were kind of like, oh, what's he up to? Instead of like, well, who is this guy? Is he, this super obscure character that we thought, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's it's the same problem the Flash TV show has been fallen into the last few years. We're building who's the villain, and
it's the same problem that Superman itself fell into with the fake Clark a little bit.
Yeah,
because Mixie was an okay choice, but like we were thinking of some crazy other things. We were Superboy Pride and all sorts.
That one didn't go on anywhere near as long, so it was a lot more forgivable.
Oh sure, yeah, it was.
With what's going on, I still feel Superboy Prime has a role to play, especially because it's John's.
Yeah, he might be involved with Manhattan. That might be something that's going on.
Yeah, when you look and see who's used him more than anybody, it is John's. Like, so and we have a full year starting in 2 weeks of that story. So
Doomsday Clock's in 2 weeks.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So close. I'm excited. I'm. I mean that is officially becoming the main event of every month. Like every week 4 now for the next year. Is this Doomsday Clock Day? It's exciting.
Yeah. Forget metal. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, metal, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, metal's always just been this has been this just a fun thing on the side. It was never promised to be this is the one.
Yeah. Barbatos is he a bat? Is he not a bat? Who can say? Existential crisis. I mean, I'm sure he asks himself that question every night. So
pretty sure Existential Crisis was the working title of metal.
It should have been called that.
Yeah, I think it's all secret. Like, I think Snyder's working through a midlife crisis, and to do so, he's basically writing this event as if he was still 12, and that's how he's getting through it.
That's why you had a League Zord.
That's why I had a League Zord.
Exactly.
Still a high point of metal, if you ask me. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
Batman Rider Dance.
John and Damian playing no Batman for and Lois throwing up the devil horns. That's my moment.
Okay.
It's up there. It's up there.
Easy, take the moments. All right, so let's move on to Wonder Woman number 34. James Robinson writing and Sergio Fernandez Davila on art. So, do you know what's funny? I feel like other than Detective, I've been kind of verging on negative for most of the show so far. And I hate that I have been, because I have to be negative again with this one. But I promise.
Okay, I thought I didn't know if you were setting us up for something.
I promise, guys, I'm mostly positive for the rest of the books. I promise you.
Okay, seeing as you two are going to be negative, I want to say, I liked this more. Again, like the last book, I liked it a lot more after I finished it.
No, I hated it more after I finished it.
Me too.
when it all built up.
Messed it up, right? This is the 4th issue of this.
Right? I don't know, it's funny, it said part 3 at the start, but yeah, it's the 4th.
It did.
It must not be counting that Grail issue as part of the story, I guess? I don't know.
Oh, that's dumb. It's all the same creative team.
It's weird. Anyway, all this built up to was he's being nice, they're getting to know each other, all this shit, it's just Wonder Woman and her brother, and then, oh no, he's evil! I didn't see that coming.
But to me,
he's
that's
jealous
still,
of Diana.
That's more interesting than look how boring and nice he is. You've been complaining about for the last 3 issues. Going, he's just this boring guy. He's not.
This is even worse.
Again, it's out of nowhere.
At least if he was just a boring fisherman, that'd actually be kind of unique in a weird way that he's just a boring fisherman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is boring from a storytelling perspective. It's just such the obvious thing to do.
I think I was higher coming into this than both of you guys were. And now I feel like a fool because this is... I enjoyed the last issue, but... Oh, man. This one was rough. I fell asleep twice reading it. It took me multiple reads to get through. Just because I'm just like, I don't...
Because most of it's them just talking to each other about, are you single? Oh, yeah, I'm kind of with Steve. Oh, no, I like being single. Oh, yeah, what's your past like? Oh, I had a dad. He's like, yeah, I'm Jason, like, the Argonauts. Yeah, oh, that's great. Yay.
Well, what was cool, though, is, he knew Hercules, right? Like, he got to know some of the Argonauts that were still around. That's why he was given that name. He was left with Glaucus, who was immortal. And I like how they differentiate the types of different immortality. He wasn't immortal because of the gods. He was immortal because he ate these herbs, that he wasn't supposed to on one of the Argonaut strips. So that was cool. But he's not there anymore. He died somehow. And I felt like there was interesting things in there that would have been cool, but instead, Robinson was so like, I'm gonna get this turn. I'm gonna get this turn. And then it doesn't stick.
The only thing I really like about this issue is when Grail does show up and they fight, and there's like bits of the clip, bits of the shoreline falling off as they're fighting.
Yeah. The action, when it becomes a tsunami.
The action sequence is very well done, and I said that about the last issue when Grail was fighting those jet pilots, or the jet planes more specifically. Like that was really well. That was well plotted and well, the layouts were good. It flowed really well. It felt epic. This as well. There's a moment here where I think it's Wonder Woman grabs Grail and it throws her down to the ground, and it's you see the bit of the side of the rock face all falling off, and it's good stuff. Like the action is well done. Give that to both the art and maybe Robinson as well, depending on how he scripted it. But so that stuff's fine. In terms of on storytelling level, he seems to they know what they're doing. But the story they're telling is just really dull and boring, and I never even liked the concept that she had a brother. Never mind.
No, that's fair.
What they're doing with it.
I think I prefer him to be evil, just compared to what this issue. For so much of it, I said it was just them talking, and I was like, this feels so disingenuous. What? I don't believe any of this that this is happening. So the fact that it was an act at least negates that major problem, which was by far my biggest problem with the issue.
I don't think I've groaned as much as I did when I got to the last page and then it said, next time, Jason's story. And
I'm not looking forward to that.
I'm like, oh no. This next issue is
Well, I'm
going
gonna
to be...
read it because I'm completionist trash, but
I'm
I'm
completely
not gonna enjoy it. I kind of wish they just sort of third Summers Brothers this, where that was this huge, mystery at Marvel for years. And was it Gambit? Was it this other character? And Brubaker did his thing with Deadly Genesis, and it was fine. But I kind of like the idea of this brother just being out there and never really addressing it. Just that's cool. Let us think. But now that they've actually given a name and a face, I'm just like, meh.
And he's just boring, good-looking guy.
I will say the
712.
one benefit to doing this story is they're just going to get Jason out of the way and we're never going to see him again.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee it.
Get rid of him. I don't want him around.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's a good thing. Like, we're not going to have this hanging over us in future. It's never going to be a thing again. We'll do this now for 5 issues or whatever, 6 issues, and then that's it. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Someone call Bendis. Get him on the line. I'm done with this. I'm done with this stupid story. Oh dear. Yeah. I kind of hated this issue. I mean, the art was pretty good. Like the art.
Okay.
I like the art, but again, this is the fourth book and the fourth artist. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
They're all busy doing metal tie-ins.
Well, I mean, we were promised 2 artists, and we've had 1 issue from each of those, and then 2 fill-ins out of 4 issues. That's kind of just weird.
The artists don't even want to work on this because they think Jason's too boring.
Jason. That'll take us on to The Flash, number 34. Joshua Williamson and Michael Moreci writing, and Popman on art. So, what's funny is this has a very similar thing to something that happened in Wonder Woman, where Flash is talking to someone and he's trusting them, and then it turns into, oh, you're so gullible, I'm evil. But at least here, it's justified because he knew this person already, and she was okay for a long time.
And also, we know she's evil already. We
That's
already
true.
knew.
Yeah, we
so
know.
we were waiting for it. Whereas with the last one, you're just kind of going, ugh.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was almost waiting for it in the last one as well, but it was in a bad way because I was like, oh, I bet it's going to make him evil. Oh, there he's evil. Okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for it in this issue just because, again, we've seen it, and Williamson's just been gutting Barry the last couple, arcs, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be a fun one. Like,
I enjoyed the issue. I'm happy to say. I enjoyed Detective a lot, but Detective was right in the middle of other books that I had complaints about. That's one I enjoyed. I enjoyed Flash. Flash 34 was a solid continuation of the arc. I
particularly loved the ending.
I like the ending as well. So Mina basically is like, oh, let's help you. I've came back to help you with your negative Speed Force powers because they're bad. They're killing you. And Molly's around. They all go to this junkyard. It's like, okay, let's do some tests. But then eventually she's just like, yeah, you're so gullible, Barry. Black holes show up, and she steals his Speed Force, but just the negative Speed Force. So Barry's cured of that, and we now have Mina as officially the negative Flash, which I like a lot. I like it a lot too.
Yeah.
So I am down with these plot progression elements.
Now this is definitely gonna destroy her, right? Like,
probably.
Yeah.
Like, all I could think of was like in The Exorcist, where he pulls the demon into him, and I kind of want Barry to go, ha, gotcha.
Yeah, that'll be Barry's reaction, sure.
I mean, to be fair, from Barry's perspective, it's easier to take someone down than it was to deal with this internally. And this thing that was literally ripping him apart from the inside, he couldn't use his powers properly. Whereas here it's like, I have something I can focus on. I have something I can
that
hit.
was the reason that Zoom. It took until this issue that I realized that that's the reason that Zoom did that to him. So.
Do you know,
yeah, I left him with that little gift.
I like that the resolution to him having this negative Speed Force, how do we get it out? I like that it's someone else taking it that wants it and not just some easy thing. Like I feel like this is more interesting than a lot of the other explanations to how he gets rid of it.
Agreed, yeah.
So I like that, and it makes her like a proper villain with this different set of powers. Like, she's a speedster, but she has we've already seen how different it is with him, so we know that it's a different destructive type of Speed Force. So she has a different thing going forward, which is cool. So I liked all that. I was doing some character building with side characters on the side. Kirsten's at the bar with the cops, and They're moving along the Copperhead thing that's happening right now. That's sort of going on in the background, and I was kind of enjoying her just being miserable that she's at Iron Heights and like, damn, there's a new someone taking out the crime boss in the city, and I'm stuck at Iron Heights. Damn, Barry Allen,
I like that.
Hate him so much.
I like the art a lot, especially at the end when it's the sunset. All that stuff just looks great.
Popman, sorry. The reason why I made that mistake, Koi Fam and Popman are very similar names, and I know this because they shared an issue of Teen Titans a month or two ago, and I remember talking about the fact that they picked two really weirdly named artists who both happen to sound really similar. So if I mistake the two of them, that's why. But now Popman's good skills. I think he's better suited to Teen Titans than maybe perhaps as Flash, but it was still pretty solid.
I liked like the scene where Wally sees Mina, runs over and they hug, and like the expression work was really on point. But I like the energy and like motion that he does for Flash. So, but yeah, he's good in Titans too. So.
No, I like where this is going. I like that it's we've built her as this villain, mostly mysteriously. We knew she was a villain, but we were not really sure.
Well, yeah, we just got little snippets here and there, but like I said, we knew she was definitely up to something here.
Our motivations are still a bit hazy, but I'm sure we'll get those as we go through the arc.
And more importantly, we are finally done with Emo Barry.
That is true. That is true.
My one fear is he's got to take it back into himself to stop her. And then deal with it from there.
Maybe. I feel like if that does happen, though, it won't be long till he's got rid of it now. I feel like this is too much of a tease for it to then go on for too long after this.
Yeah.
I can see it being a case if he takes it back, but then he's got rid of it by the end of the same issue, because he'll figure out how to...
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah. But no, solid issue of Flash. Now, obviously, we're running a little bit over time, so I'm maybe condensing these a little bit more than usual. But up next is Mr. Miracle number 4, Tom King writing, Mitch Gerads on art. This has been obviously blowing us away, first 3 issues, so we're on to issue 4. And this is mostly revolving around one kind of incident, one scene, essentially. A little bit of build up to it, but it's all down to Orion believes that Scott Free has the anti-life equation inside him.
Yeah.
And because of that, he's an agent of Darkseid. So he's decided that he's going to have a trial, and he's going to come round, and he's like, well, since I'm the High Father, I appoint the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor. I'm going to be all of those things. That doesn't seem corrupt.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
It was the accuser, the defendant, and the judge.
That's what it was, yeah. He was his defendant as well. That was the one that really cracked me up.
Yeah.
So he's doing that.
What got me here is I've looked at Orion in this series so far, and it's like, he's such a bad guy. He's the villain. And then you get to this issue, and if he can't, that the whole thing about if he has the anti-life, he's going to say things that are false that are true, and things that are true is false, right? Like, that's what the whole trial is based around. And it's like, well, how are we, like, this has all been from Scott's point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how exactly do we know, like, what we've been seeing is the actual truth, and that Scott's not just a unreliable narrator? And I like that it played with that here.
Yeah, definitely.
My favourite thing about this book, actually, is Barda beating the living shit out of Light Ray and repeatedly doing it. Especially...
Can we talk about the amazing art touch at that?
Go on.
Which, how when someone swears in a comic and they blank it out with the symbols, like, you have the symbols. Here, when she punches him, the first time, I haven't noticed it later, but you just get the symbols, like they're around him as if they were sound effects almost, like that style. And it's just the idea that he's just shouting out swearing while he's beating him. You just
honestly,
don't see it.
I love how she keeps beating him up there, but my favourite part of it is when they actually come back for the trial and Barda and him sit there on the couch, and he's like, this couch is inadequate. Barda's like, shut the F up, like, Ray.
Yeah.
That really
it's all the same symbols that Connor was just talking about.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
That's just brutality from her, like, for his shit. It was cracking me up.
I did notice that he cheated a couple of times on the paneling. With the 9-panel grids. There was a couple that it just runs into 2. It's really just one long panel that's like 2. panels wide.
Oh, that's
but
not cheating. That's fine.
No, but see, on this, though, it's... If you look at what he's talking about in that panel, though, where he's talking about that things are either true or false, and it splits them right down the middle.
No, it does it a few times. It does it earlier in the issue as well. When they're sitting on the couch, there's one that's 2 panels wide of them sitting on the couch, and there's one across the top that's 3 panels wide of them on the couch as well. That one's more excusable because each one's just one character that just overlaps. But I did notice it a couple of times.
They got a vegetarian. They got a vegetarian.
Yeah,
A weird choice, but
the carrots,
I do like carrot sticks.
Well,
so
I think that's the big thing for me, just from Mr. Miracle's characterization this issue, is just how he doesn't seem to give a shit about any of this. He just kind of goes along with it. He's like, hey, wait a minute, right, I've got a carrot. Okay, proceed.
yeah, all right, shall we begin? I'm going to get a carrot. No, he doesn't even ask. It's just like, it's just I'm going to get a carrot.
Because he generally looks bored as he's listening to him a lot of the time, and then of course there's those video effects that are kind of happening, distorting him as it's going on, which makes you think: is this the anti-life equation? Is this kind of affecting him?
Yeah.
And all this is going on. I love it though, because it's basically one of my favorite things actually is when he starts asking all the questions and he's like forcing them to say true or false. He's just forcing them to say true or false. It does this really nice thing throughout the page. It's over 2 pages. Where you can on Ryan's side, because it's like alternating views of them looking at each other just from side
back and forth
from profile, and on Orion's view, imagine it's a camera. It's just slightly going to the left because it reveals Barda just a little bit more each panel until she's all there at the bottom of the page, and then the next page it keeps going, and then she goes past Orion. It's just really nice touch.
Looks like he's moving closer to...
Yeah, that's it. You get that he's just taking these small steps forward every time that he asks a question.
Exactly. It's so good.
And Scott's standing still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great touch.
Yeah, it's good, and he's basically just... And what I love as well is Barda looks pissed because you can see that he's basically trapping him in an argument where he's like, because of the way he's phrasing it, and he keeps making him say true or false. He's like, well, if this is this, then it has to be true, right? He's like, true. And that means you could be the anti-life equation, true. And it's really good. Obviously, it gets interrupted as well, because a package arrives. So we get almost a sort of comic interlude where Barda gets up to answer the door.
It's just a microphone.
It's all very entertaining. And I love how, like, because Barda's like, hey, Scott, like, if you think this is a trap and you want us to fight our way out of this, I'm ready to go. And then Light Ray's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Just say it, Orion.
Yeah. And obviously Scott's like, nah, getting out of traps is what I do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're goading each other. And obviously, I love how the veggie plate's like still full. Like, other than that one carrot.
Well, Orion takes a carrot at the end as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the end, sure, but we're not there yet. It's still full at this point. But no, so it just really, really strong stuff. And again, the questions keep going. And it's kind of what we said about a lot of this book so far, is that it really plays with the idea of like sort of pacing out the beats of the scene, and like every single moment, every single panel is the next pause in the scene.
Yeah.
And it works really well. Because again, like there's that page where it's just Miracle's facial expressions changing with each.
Just sort of really subtly as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it gets to that really dark place where the anti-life equation make you kill yourself, which I think is a very interesting way of phrasing it. He didn't say try to kill yourself, attempted suicide.
Yeah,
he says,
it was hate made you kill yourself.
Hate. Because he's saying he's basically talking about how anti-life equation is giving him hate, and he hates everything. He's like, you hate me, yes. You hate Orion, yes. You hate your life, yes. You hate your name, yes. Just everything he says is like, you hate all these things. You are hate. Is the anti-life equation hate? And he's like, true.
And then he just snaps.
Yeah, he snaps.
Yeah, because the final question is, you are the anti-life equation, true or false?
And Orion looks shocked. He is on the floor. He is bleeding from the nose. He is shocked. Barda's pulling Miracle back, and Miracle looks demented in how angry he is. But then he does that thing where he breaks down and starts crying in her arms, and she's just holding him. And it's kind of like I'm getting to this point with this book where I'm like, is this the anti-life equation? It's doing this, and it might be, and that's a great story. but part of it feels like it's all just an analogy for him going through this midlife crisis, for him being suicidal. That's all this really is.
Yeah, I'm reading that the anti-life is depression. Like,
yeah.
Because that's basically when you think about what depression is and how it affects people. It is anti-life. You're not dead, but you're just kind of going through things, and you're almost a slave to your actions because you're not fully invested in things. You know.
It's why I think I'm okay if this is the anti-life equation in the story.
Yeah.
It's why I'm okay because it still works as the analogy.
It does. It absolutely does. I'm not.
Well, and that's where they ask him if he's if he thinks that Orion's also been affected by it, right? And it blips out with the effect. That's what made me start questioning. Like, well, maybe we're just seeing things from Scott's perception, and like. And like, yeah, war sucks, and they've been using the bugs, as basically cannon fodder, but it's all for this good cause. So for Ryan, who's like the dog of war, but he's not doing this just to be a jerk.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Matt. Like you said, like if he's unreliable, all these questions he's asking, did Light Ray kill Bug? Did Granny Goodness get murdered? What if all that didn't actually happen? We think it's true because we saw it, but it didn't, and that's why they know there's something wrong with them.
No, it's true, and Orion makes a point of saying, look, it doesn't matter whether we'll know whether things are true or not, but it's about what you believe. It's not what you think. It's not. It's not what you know. It's just what do you believe. And
it's Orion going, it doesn't. It's true or false. There's none. It's A or B. There's no middle ground.
I like the reactions here. It kind of shows like Orion's decision when he like makes his decision. At the end of this, when he's decided that this is you're guilty. He's like, well, I'm going to execute you. He doesn't want to deal with it. Whereas Barda wants to like comfort him and try and help him. And I can almost see this being like this is how people either deal with this: is they try to ignore it and just pretend it doesn't exist or just want rid of it.
I like that Orion looks so sad, when he says, you're guilty. He's like, it's the execution is something that he feels he has to, not that he wants to do. He's just like, he really didn't want it to come to this, but he feels that it has to.
Yeah, but of course, that's not how you should deal with this.
No, but it makes Orion, because I think up till this point, he's been very antagonistic, almost verging on evil at this point, the way he's treated this. And then you see his face here at the end, because obviously up till this, he's been masked.
Well, and he looks like Orion. He doesn't look like Darkseid.
Right, exactly. And I think the idea is, we've seen the mask, the image, and we've got this idea of what Orion is at the minute. And then you get the mask off, and you see his face. He's horrified by what he's seeing. He looks so dejected to call him guilty. He doesn't want to be doing this. He feels it's his duty, and it's this idea that it suddenly humanizes Orion in the story.
Yep.
No, it does. It absolutely does for the first time. But I do think there's a commentary here on how different people cope with people with depression or with suicidal tendencies or whatever. I think there's definitely some commentary here and how Barda's like, because we ended the book and Barda's just holding him, and the narrator, this unseen narrator, this TV personality, is basically, I think, implying that the next issue is going to be more from Barda's point of view and how she's going to deal with this. Because it's talking about her, it's talking about how she's the bait for Mr. Miracle. So
I love that on those final panels. You just see, Orion and Light Ray, they leave in the background, but like Scott and Barda never move.
Yeah, they're just there.
Also, Scott looks so small compared to Barda.
He's tiny. I mean, have you seen the variant cover? Because Gerads is the one that he doesn't do the main cover; he does the variants. The one for next issue really shows off the size difference, and it's this idea of how much is actually the size difference and how much is Scott's perception of Barda.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we all shift obviously Barda's been a big part of the book anyway, but I think that the idea of like the loved one being the most important person to try and help him through this, and how much of a struggle it is in her, like how does someone who's close to someone with depression deal with it themselves? How do they cope with it? How do they go through it? How do they try and help? I think that's going to be a big theme going forward. But yeah, he looks so broken, and she looks broken trying to help him. It's like she doesn't know how to help him, and she's trying, but she doesn't know how, and it's it's what makes the book really sad. And I feel like by the time you get to the end of the book, you're really, because I think early on he's doing the trick with the train and like he's cracking his jokes wearing his Green Lantern shirt and Light Ray's getting beat up. You almost start in this really kind of funny place. It's almost kind of emulating the feeling of being bipolar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's impressive. It's doing things that I don't often see comics do. So
yeah, it's a pretty special little series, isn't it?
It is. So Mr. Miracle number 4, fantastic. Looking forward to number 5. So
as I said on Twitter before we move on, it makes me feel things I don't like to feel, but I don't. It doesn't make me not want to read it. So.
Hey! Remember back in issue 1 when Matt wasn't sure if he liked it or not?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
how wrong he was.
Yeah, not as wrong as Connor as usually, but pretty wrong.
I was trying to deflect away from me, but fine.
Good luck.
We can see right through your game. Just don't even try. So I'll take us on though to Titans number 17. Dan Abnett writing and Minkyu Jung on art. Hey, not Booth. Hey, look at that. That's something. That's a change. So we got, I was sort of joking earlier, we've got multiple books with someone from the future. Obviously we had Tim and Detective. But here in Titans we have Donna Troy from the future, who apparently once realising she's immortal and everyone she cares about is dead, she basically becomes the weapon she's supposed to be and goes about taking over planets, I think? Dominating?
I guess.
Pillaging?
Maybe.
Stuff. I wasn't particularly clear what her motivations were beyond she might as well because everyone she's loved is dead. Yeah, there was some fun stuff here with how she spoke to the other Titans, where she called Dick Batman at one point. She's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's not happened yet. So there was some fun little teases in that sense. Most of the issue was kind of Donna v Donna fighting, with the rest of the Titans fighting the other characters, and young Wally's trying to restart old Wally with Speed Force. That was the gist of it. You were particularly in favour of the last issue, Matt, and I saw you say this week that you were trying this one, and then you would see if you want to keep going. I'm going to make a prediction and see if you feel no different.
No, I'm done for now.
Yeah.
If I hear it picks up any better, all of this, I've been reading this since Titan Hunt, and I more or less have enjoyed things, but I just feel all that build-up that started in Titan's Hunt with Mr. Twister, all just for this immortal version of Donna to show up. I'm just like,
I mean,
not so much.
I think I like it a bit more than you do, but I can't really defend it much either. It's kind of like, it's a decent enough read that I read every month, and it's kind of like I like some of the character beats and whatever. But I can't deny, the books are starting to stack up. We're getting new books starting soon, and it's like, if we're going to have to cut one or two things, I feel like Titans is kind of an obvious one to go. Even though, it pains me to cut the one with Wally in it.
Yeah, well, that's why I've kept going, because it's the one book where you get Wally, and Wally's been great, I think. Even with the pacemaker stuff, I think Abnett has written an enjoyable older Wally. We haven't got a lot of him in this Donna Troy story. I didn't like the message of it either, where it was, oh, well, don't care about things because you're immortal, because...
Well, sure, obviously, she's the villain, no matter. That's going to change. She's going to learn that she's wrong.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of like a weak version, of it, I'd rather her come back as a conqueror going, hey, I had all this power, and, I was meant to be a weapon, and I wasn't used that way.
I'll admit, old Donna's motivations were murky at best. I wasn't entirely sure why she wanted to do what she was doing.
I have a question, which is it doesn't necessarily directly relate to this, but just based on something you mentioned a minute ago. So not so long ago we got a few references to Brother Eye, and I was like, it's coming. And then now between the detective stuff and this one here mentioning Dick as Batman, do you think they're maybe getting ready to do another bit without Bruce as Batman, maybe after Metal or Doomsday Clock?
Well, now that you've suggested it, I hope not, just so you're wrong. But
but they've stated that since the first issue of Batman. with King.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, there's a good point, but obviously we've been kind of, but back then we were going, yeah, but they're not going to really do, one thing. We're like, yeah, but it's good. We were thinking of how are they going to get out of that.
If I was to, I mean, okay, I've got two suggestions here. One, if it happens in present day continuity, it'll be because Batman marries Catwoman and he wants to retire for a while or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That would be the why it happens in present day, my guess. Or I think the more likely option though is that we'll actually just get a story in this, Bats of Future Past timeline, and we'll see Dick as Batman there.
Days of Future Bats.
Days of Future Bats. Sorry, Matt. You coined the phrase. I'll let you correct me. But yeah, I see that kind of thing where we see like a future storyline. So we don't actually get it in present continuity, but we see the kind of what if.
But I mean, like I said, like how Matt mentioned how that end of that first arc of Batman kind of was the death of Bruce Wayne. Or the death of Batman. I can't remember the specific wording now, but and we were at the time we were going, okay, well, we were looking at how they can get out of this, but now then we've got more and more hints over the last few months of alternate futures. Just the idea of other people being Batman in the not too distant future. I think that maybe we could actually see that coming, not too far away.
Yeah,
maybe. Maybe like before Doomsday Clock up until the end of that, or maybe after Doomsday Clock. I'm not sure which.
I think maybe after, because we know Doomsday Clock takes place in a year in the future, and then by the end everything else will catch up. So maybe something happens in Doomsday Clock.
Oh man, does Manhattan evaporate Batman? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think it's that much. I don't think that happens.
I'd have said something would have happened in Metal, but I don't think they've built Metal as the place for it to be.
No. Hey, I like Dick as Batman, so if they want to do that, soon,
me too. I'm down for it. I'm not criticizing this.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
He's Dick of Batman, he's Dick as he's Batman. Wait, hold on. He's Dick Grayson as Batman, but in Bloodhaven. Think about that.
Whatever.
But then we're basically just spiraling into Batman Inc. again, and it's how all the cities have a Batman.
Oh god, no! Let's not do that.
Because Gotham needs a Batman still.
I'm not fond of Batman Inc. Let's not go down that path. Thank you and please. Yeah. So Titans, which is
Continue telling me about Titans.
What was we talking about? Yeah, it was kind of consistent with what it'd been doing. There was some okay moments.
No reason to read it then.
No reason to recommend it if you've not been into it. So I guess this is getting taken out of the rotation for the next little bit. I was thinking what I might do with some of these books if I'm still reading them. Is at the end of an arc, maybe I'll bring it up and talk about the arc as a whole for a couple of minutes when it's done. Because I've not read the current Birds of Prey arc yet, but it's the one with all the different characters coming into it. And I'm like, I think I'll read all that when the last issue of that's out and talk about it a little bit. Because that was a fun story. And people were telling us it was fun on Twitter as well. But no, there you go. Titans, that was basically it. Not a whole lot to discuss. So we will move on to Supergirl, number 15, written by Steve Orlando and Jody Houser, who is joining, at least for the next few issues, starting with this one. I don't know if it's permanent.
That might make me go back and pick it up if it's permanent.
Well, Robson Roca's on art. My first thought in this is that I love this issue. You read it, Matt. Go on. How do you feel?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to add anything else. I thought it was fine. It was a little bit of a...
This is an episode where we have barely agreed on anything unanimously this episode.
No.
This is strange.
We don't like
Mr. Miracle.
We don't like Mr. Miracle.
Oh, Mr. Miracle, sure, yeah.
Yeah. It was fine. Like, it wasn't bad, but I felt it was just choppy. You can feel like it's a transitional issue. Like...
See, this is the weird thing about you saying it's choppy, is I actually think this is the best paced the book has ever been. I think it's better than most of the issues we've had so far.
I don't know. I like the early stuff a little bit more, I think.
I think the characters, the voices are better. I got a sense of what Supergirl was feeling throughout this.
Yeah.
Because
that's fine.
Because she's she's having to hide her identity. Well, obviously she's already hiding her identity, but she's in proper lockdown mode because the DEO are actually trying to hunt her, and they know she's got a secret identity, so they're trying to find her. and
she has to be super careful and all that.
yeah.
And I liked all that.
So there's a lot of stuff with her, like talking about what she's doing when she's at Catco, what she's doing at school, and like, you know, Ben's like kind of wanting to ask her to the dance, but he can't quite work it up to work up the nerve to ask her. And there's so much stuff that it was feeling like very internal monologue, and I was like, it was just flowing much better to me than it has been. Like, I felt like it was really hitting a pace and a character tone that I was really getting into. I'm down for this. I hope Jody Houser sticks around. If this is the influence she's having on this book, I'm so down for this.
I felt like, again, it's hard to say to defend the choppy because it worked so seamlessly for you, but I just felt like it was bouncing all over, and you know, I think maybe if it was just Hauser without Orlando, it might have flowed a little bit easier for me, but it just felt like there were elements going on.
Maybe they're transitioning. Maybe like
that's what I was just going to say. You know how we got like a Batwoman, the first arc had Tynion co-writing. If this is kind of that with Hauser, if it comes that she's getting it on her own, I will be going back and checking it out.
Because I liked what I read, like the stuff with Director Bones and Dr. Veritas and all that. I liked all that. I liked the stuff with Kara and her mom and dad.
All that stuff.
They had to quit DEO because they didn't want to work for Bones.
Yeah, all this stuff was hitting for me. I like at the start you got Bones who's like repurposing various things. Making Dr. Veritas make weapons and stuff to detect Supergirl, and he's pissed at her because he knows she knows more about her than she's letting on. So he's pissed about that. And like so you've got this whole manhunt thing. You've got like a DEO agent at school like calling her out of class to like, because I mean she's interviewing everyone, but she's specifically interviewing her, and like she hears someone in trouble. She hears like an accident's happened further away, and she can't go because it'll look suspicious. So she has to stay there and kind of just deal with it. And I don't know, I was digging it all. I'm digging the teen kind of angst of it all. It was reminding me a little bit of being Super at times almost with her.
Yeah.
In a room, kind of. Yeah. Which reminds me, did you notice the poster in her room, Matt?
I feel like I did, but remind me.
It was.
I've read a lot of comics since I read this one.
It was Diana's book from Rucka's first run.
That's right.
Reflections.
That's right.
There was a poster of that on the wall. I thought that was a weird but nice touch.
Yep.
Made me smile. I'll say that much. I'm liking the supporting cast development. I'm like Ben's starting to become really likable. There's this other girl who's into him that keeps kind of one-upping Kara like in class and stuff. And it was kind of fleshing this stuff out a little bit more. I feel like I'm really getting between the parents and like Ben at school, I feel like I'm getting a sense of who these characters are. I'm loving Bones as being this antagonist. I like Bones anyway, but like it's filling all that out for me. And then obviously there's the tease at the end of who the villain's going to be for this arc, which is pretty cool. So Bones mentions, repurpose this stuff, and he mentions like a number of project, and she's like, Sharon Vance? And then the end of the book, the cliffhanger, is out in the park. Basically Sharon Vance, or I should say Strange Visitor, who originally was a combination of Sharon Vance and Kismet, appears. Basically she looks like Superwoman does, but blue. She's like the blue version of Superwoman in appearance.
So who is this Sharon Vance? Because I feel like I should know, but I don't. Like, it's not ringing a bell.
I don't know a whole bunch about it. She basically, Kismet is this like alien like protector of worlds kind of thing. But she was in a plane with Sharon Vance, and they got struck by lightning, and it merged them, kind of like Superman Blue Red, and she became the Strange Visitor, who was like a villain for a while.
Okay.
I think I've read like one story with Strange Visitor in it.
Look at that. Yeah. That's continuity wonk, not picking up on something.
No. I mean, I feel like this is the first time she's been used since I've been reading comics.
Oh, it's been a while. I did a little bit of research for this, by the way. I didn't just know all this. Just full disclosure.
Oh, okay.
Nah, that's cheating. It's fine. Matt always comes up with stuff just off the top of his head. He just knows his stuff. You don't.
Look. Part of the fun of comics.
I knew you had been reading like Peter David's Supergirl, so I thought maybe
this
had some of that.
She's not popped up in that, at least not yet. Anyway, she might.
Okay.
Part of the fun of comics though is they'll throw in like some obscure character that they like. You can tell that some people will know who this is, so you go and look them up, and you're like, "Oh, who's this? I want to know who this is."
Well, I was like, Sharon Vance isn't Livewire's name, so this is weird.
Oh yeah, it's not Livewire. Yeah,
It's just not electricity and Superman. I was like,
I'm sure.
Why
of
is
that.
she wearing the electric blue suit? This is a weird.
No, because I seen her at the end of the book and I'm like, who the hell is this? And I went
Yeah.
looking. But no.
Gotcha.
I've heard the name though, when she said the name of the issue before, I'm like, or the page before, I'm like, Sharon Van sounds familiar. So I think I've heard of this character.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of her, and she looks familiar. So,
Fair
but
enough.
then again, I don't know if that's just like Superwoman's outfit playing tricks in my mind.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because she looks like a blue version of
No,
Superwoman.
I just pulled her up, and it's the electric blue suit.
Yeah.
You know, from back in the day too. So.
Yeah.
You know.
Aye, so she's super 90s basically. This is kind of what we're getting at. But no, I dug this issue a lot. I wasn't like, I remember liking the last issue a lot as well, but I came into this like kind of like, yeah, I'm Supergirl, I enjoy Supergirl. But then I was like, by the time I got to like halfway through, I'm like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is really finding a tone for me this month. So no, I recommend it. If you dropped Supergirl before now, I would maybe even suggest this is a good one because it does a good job of recapping things.
Yeah.
I think. It sets the stage. It's like, okay, this is everything that's kind of happened. This is where we are now. I feel this is a good jumping on issue if you wanted to jump in here.
If Hauser comes on as the sole writer, I'll go back from here.
She's definitely on the next two issues as per the solicitors. How permanent it is, I don't know, but
Cool.
but I'm glad about that because I really like this issue a lot. Well, that leaves us with one last book to talk about, and that is New Superman number 17. Jean Lung Yang writing and Joe Lalick on art, or Lilac, maybe I'll say. So this is, we ended the last issue with the Justice League of China and the Bat car robot thing that Bakshi built, and they've accidentally fired the Justice League because the robot basically has a mind of its own, and they're stuck inside as it's firing more rockets at Superman, and they're like, oh, this is bad, and then like the rest of the team are there, and Avery's like, oh no, the Flash is here, I'm so embarrassed, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
So start off with the humor. It was working. You had once they actually like ripped the front of the robot off, and like Bakshi meets Batman, and he's like, "Who are you? I'm the Chinese version of you." He's like, "You're the teenage Chinese version of me. But take better care when you're building
so here's
stuff."
the thing. I don't know if I forgot or I just realized it. I didn't realize Baishi is a teenager like Keenan. I always thought he was a little bit older. In his mid-20s. So that's a whole new spin on the character now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And of course, so that goes not that well, but of course, Delane meeting Wonder Woman goes a bit more smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that she knows that she was Green Snake, and just shows Wonder Woman does her homework, you know? So,
yeah, she's like, oh, Green Snake, I know White Snake. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that connection.
I kind of wanted them to make a White Snake, like, 80s hair metal band joke there, but they didn't. So good on them.
Obviously, it was fun for Avery because she already knows Barry, so she's like, it's me, I've got a secret identity though. I'm the Flash. I'm the Chinese Flash.
Yep.
All this was really entertaining. They basically stay back to help clean up because the car thing exploded, and because Barry tried to move part of it, the fuel source, and it ended up blowing up. And so they're doing clean up. They're in Metropolis, and Keenan's like, right, I'm going to go and get this artifact. And Superman follows him. He's like, hey, no, Keenan, wait. And he follows him. He's like, yeah, we've traced it to this place. And he goes, Robin Bot comes as well. I actually kind of like this, that Robin Bot came with Keenan for this mission.
Yeah.
Because he ended up helping and fighting. And also, I really wanted Batman to react to Robin Bot. I really wanted Batman to be like, what's this thing? It's like, it's Robin Bot. It's like,
wait, I can do this? I don't need to train children. I can just train robots?
A robot? That's an idea.
Yeah.
Can make a robot.
I also like that they're at Luthor, and Luthor feels like he's villainous Luthor again.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't feel like the same one that we ran into, earlier in the series.
Yeah, it's Luthor's house that the artifact's at. And Keenan wants to come in and get it, and Luthor's like, well, that's my private property, you can't come in here and get it. And even Superman's like, yeah, this is kind of like you can't just do this.
It's dodgy.
I can't let you just go in there. We have to go through the proper channels for this. But Keenan's like, no, this belongs to China. I can just go in and take this. And Luthor has a bunch of robots that come out to fight him, and he's like, yes, fight Superman. And then Keenan leaves Robin Bot behind, and Keenan goes into the house anyway. And he's like, robots, you're letting them away. Superman, go after him. And Superman's like, I'm a bit busy fighting your stupid robots. And he's like, no, you idiot robots. I meant that Superman.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I like too that Luthor has the largest collection of Qing Dynasty treasures not in China.
Oh, of course.
Because that's just something he would do. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
And of course the red jade dragon's there.
That's exactly Luthor. Also, I like that when Keenan like explains to Superman before this what's going on. He's like, "Oh, I Ching's been like trapped by like this all Yang character, and I need to get this artifact to power up." And he's like, "Wait, so the villain told you all this, and you think he's telling the truth? You think you trust him?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he just wants me to be the Emperor of China, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, but this is an experienced superhero who's been double crossed one too many times, and is like, "Hey, trust me, the villain's probably lying. I've done this a few times. We should maybe proceed with caution." But he gets the thing. He unlocks his powers, and all Yang shows up, and the fight breaks out. And he claims that he's killed I Ching. That I Ching's there's no way of bringing him back. I don't believe him. I believe he probably will come back, but he's like, no, he's gone. You're such a disappointment, Keenan. I wanted you to be the Emperor, but unfortunately, you're basically a little bitch. And as a result, I'm just going to do it my way. And he's like, by the way, by activating that totem, you've basically opened a door to another world, and it's the world of the demigods. And out walks these Chinese looking Buddha gods out of this big portal, which is the big cliffhanger of the issue, and they're like 15 foot tall or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
not
well,
to
they're
scale.
Kind of like the ones that we've already seen, like when the Triad showed up with Luthor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this led me to look up all Yang and Yin and Yang and stuff, and so you look up the I Ching, and it was a manual of the trigrams. And they were represented by a yin is broken dots, and the yang solid dots, or just solid dashes. And it goes into the trigram. So when you look at the trigram thing that has all his powers on them, you see which ones are more yin and which ones are more yang. And I thought that, had I not stumbled upon this, it just shows again the level of detail that Yang himself is doing. Which that's weird. He's got the all Yang, but his last name is Yang. Yeah.
No, I saw it. I mean, I probably didn't love this one as much as the last two. The last two were like pinnacle New Superman. This one was like close, but really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just not quite as amazing as the last two, but really solid stuff. Like I say, this is one of the best kind of like relatively standalone books that Rebirth's putting out. It's grown so much. I say this every month, but I'm at a point with it now where it's like one of my favourite things to read every month. So I happily recommend New Superman. And as we said before, it was meant to end at issue 18, but it no longer is. So it's weird to think this would have been the second last issue had that been the case.
Yeah.
But we're getting at least another arc afterwards, so that's cool. Got to fill out that potential omnibus, I suppose. So
you get it to 25.
Yeah, they get 25. That's a good point. That's a good cut-off point. Give them an oversized 25 issue. Make that a big finale, maybe. Unless they want to keep going. If they want to go to like 40, then you know what, go to 40. I'm not going to complain. But there you go. And Connor looks bored.
It's
Connor,
fine.
you should go back and read this.
You should.
I was trying not to listen too much so that I can go back and read this at some point and still enjoy it. So I'm kind of just tune out and just wait until I hear my name.
Okay.
Because I'm slowly catching up on Aquaman. So, by the next issue, not next week.
Yeah, because Matt's missing. Yeah, Matt's missing next week. So
don't feel bad though. I'm going to Disneyland. So everybody,
Yeah, but that's going to Disneyland next week. So it'll just be me and Connor next week, and then it'll be all three of us for Doomsday Clock, and then Connor's missing the fifth week.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew someone was missing the fifth week. I just had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, but Connor's going somewhere fun for that fifth week too, so it's
So anyway, so we'll finish the books. We're ready to move on to our end of the show discussion, which is picking our favourites and whatnot from the week. So, actually, one final point on New Superman, just the art, because it's a different artist than normal. Than the last few issues. It was pretty good, but it did suffer from that thing where it's like switching in the middle of an arc, where I'm noticing it because it's different, not because it's bad.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I wanted to make that point. Anyway, so yeah, picks of the week and all that stuff. So we do cover, we do panel or / moment, and we do top 5 of the week, and obviously best art. So That's what we do at the end of every episode. So, we start with moment of the week. Typically, Connor's not been really speaking for the last couple because he's not been reading them. So I'm going to make him go first.
That's fine. I'm prepared this week for the first time
job.
ever.
Of course you are.
I think it's the first time ever that I've known my panel that I'm going to say before we start the episode. Where usually I get to this point and I'm flicking through, going, "Quick, what am I going to use? What am I going to use?" But no, it's the ending of Action Comics, the back to work. That's it.
I feel like Matt might end up doubling up here. Matt, what's your pick?
Well, I was going to, but he took that. But I'll just go with my second one, which was from Detective, which is that image of the two Tims facing out the window.
Funnily enough, that was my second one too.
See, we're hanging out online too much, Connor. It's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've got a different pick. I'm going with Big Barda saying "Shut the f up, late Ray." I love that panel. That made me laugh so much this week. It's getting my pick.
Pretty good.
I can't deny that Action Comics ending was solid, but no, that's my pick. So cover of the week, Matt. You can knock this one out first.
So my cover comes from Detective Comics, and it's that image of Tim, in glorious Robin form. Yeah, it's real cool looking.
Yeah, that's cool. Connor?
Yeah, same. I think some of the covers this week are a bit weaker in general.
Yeah.
Especially I think Action's downright ugly. I don't know what's going on with Superman on that Action cover.
I don't know either. He is blocky. He looks like he was drawn by the Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's got that really wide chest. It's almost like he's... Do you know those pop figures? It's almost like his chest is the fat bit of a pop figure.
Yeah.
I mean the head.
It's not good.
No, the chest. His chest.
Yeah. But typically on the pop figures, it's the head that's
I know.
wide.
That's why I was saying it was his chest. It's like that.
Yeah, I know. No, you said it's like the fat bit on the pop figures. I mean, like the head. You mean the head?
Oh, sure, yeah. Aye, that's what I meant. That's just him correcting me, but there's no correction.
I wasn't correcting. I was adding on. I was like, oh, do you mean the head?
Yeah.
Aye, the head. Aye, the stupid fat head on those.
Hey, Pete,
figures.
what's your cover?
I don't. Nothing particularly grabs me this week, so I'm probably going with Detective as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's jumping out at me and saying, yeah, this is the one you put in your wall, or make the wallpaper kind of thing. So best art of the week. I'll go first here. I've got a really easy pick because I'm going with Mr. Miracle and Mitch Gerads because, yeah. I feel like I've picked it almost every time it's came up, so I don't really feel like I have to explain it that much anymore.
No, it's earned though. Because that's mine too.
And mine.
Oh, there we go. nice and easy. So Mr. Miracle gets full rounds there. So top 5 comics of the week. Connor, we're back to you being first.
That's fine. So number 1 is Mr. Miracle because, well, obviously. Number 2 is going to be Detective. 3, they're a little bit closer now. Maybe Batman Lost. 4, Flash. 5, Hal and Pals.
Matt?
So our first 3, mine and Connor's are identical. It's Mr. Miracle, Tech, Batman Lost. But then I'm going to throw in Action Comics at 4 and Supergirl at 5.
Cool. My number 1 is Mr. Miracle, so we got unanimous. My number 2 is Supergirl. My number 3 is Detective Comics. My number 4 is Flash. My number 5 is New Superman. That's where I fall. Weird week where I had like a good handful that I was a bit more negative on. In the case of Wonder Woman, just downright like ugh. So
it's funny. I'm usually the one that's the really negative one.
You are. That's my one hope because I worry this is someone's first episode because every episode is someone's first episode and they're going to think I'm this moody bastard who hates everything. When I'm normally the one sticking up for things. I'm normally the one trying to find the silver linings. It's you that's the pessimist. You're the one who's like
usually is. Yeah.
They're going to take someone off a book and put Bendis on it. That's Connor. That's him.
Yeah, you mark my words. I'm gonna rage.
But the funny thing is if they do it, then me and Matt can just enjoy it and be entertained.
Yeah.
So, it all works out in the end.
Dicks.
So what's coming next week? That's what I usually tell you now. So next week we have Batman Who Laughs, which is the last of the one-shots out of the Evil Batman from Metal. So that should prove interesting. We also have Justice League number 33, which is the final of the Bats Out of Hell crossover. And then we have Batman 35, Superman 35, Green Lanterns 35, Nightwing 33, Aquaman 30, Batwoman number 9, and Super Sons number 10. There's also the Demon Hell is Earth number 1. I don't know if anyone wants to check out that first issue of the miniseries. It seems like Connor's...
don't see that. I'm looking at previews now. Are you sure that's out next week?
Oh, they pushed it maybe then.
Yeah.
Maybe they pushed it.
It looks like it's been pushed. Yeah.
Fair enough. In that case, disregard that. Also out though, that we're not covering is Harley Quinn 32 and Trinity number 15. Just in case you happen to care about those and want to buy them. So, there you go. That is what's coming next week. So, week 3, and it's plethora of, like, week 3 is always the hardest to pick the art on. I feel like they always hit us with a few really heavy choices.
Just look, it looks like Harley Quinn's got pushed as well.
Oh, really? That's weird.
That doesn't typically get... It's been pretty consistent.
It has been. So that is particularly strange. But I guess since it's a week 5, they're using it as an opportunity to...
It makes sense.
Throw it on there, or maybe throw it on week 4, so it's still 2 weeks to the next one. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there you go. So that's what's coming next week. This has been episode 77 of Comics from the Multiverse.
Jeez.
Let us know what you thought of the...
Episode too many.
You're going to start giving the people the impression you don't want to be here, Connor. You have to be positive.
Just saying. It's a lot of episodes. It's a
So
lot of time to spend with you.
we spend way more time talking about TV shows than we do comic books, so don't even give me it. That has been episode 77. Let us know what you think of this week's books in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show, support Comics from the Multiverse, you can go over to patreon.com/mildfuzztv. You can do that over there. You get a bonus monthly episode from me and Connor about a trade or a graphic novel or whatever. Also get to vote, which, by the way, you have... At the time of recording, you have till next Friday. You have till Friday, whatever next Friday is. Before the day before episode 78 is up is the deadline for
17th.
There you go, 17th for the week 5 vote for what we're going to be doing on the fifth week, which is me and Matt on top of the annuals and stuff. We'll be talking about one of those, whoever wins that vote, which is The Power of Shazam graphic novel, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Superman Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and Wonder Woman The Circle are the options. So
speaking of, the first trailer for Gotham by Gaslight animated film dropped this week. Did either of you check that out?
I did not see it, no.
Looks pretty good. They seem to be doing some interesting things with it.
Cool. So, no, there you go. I've plugged everything. I should always plug this. Television for the Multiverse. Me and Connor talk about all the DC TV shows of the week. That goes up very late on a Sunday. But because that's when we get to the end of the week and we talk about the 4 shows. Well, it's 4 right now, maybe more soon, depending on what they start and whatnot. But yeah, so fun stuff all around. But that is us. So thank you once again for listening or watching. Matt, try not to look so miserable. I feel like people watch this and they think you just look depressed all the time whenever you're not talking.
No.
I think it's just face. Resting bitch face, I guess. I think that's what they call it.
I think it's just he's eternally going, I miss Connor Kent.
Who?
Matty Mike's Cohen.
Yeah, his mate's going as I'm making fun of him. But we're wrapping up anyway, so that has been Comics from the Multiverse. Thanks once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. We love you loads. And always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.